The Legion of Soldiers, the strongest civilization for hire. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26 Qualifying Round. Now basically everything has been done. All the surrounding void demon nests have been cleared, except for the one with the void monster. The monster didn't come out in the previous life, and it's probably not going to come out this time. The development of all aspects of civilization has been on the right track, and the civilization blueprints will soon be completed through the acceleration symbol. Maybe I can try to play a ranked match. Chen clicked on the martial arts performance interface. The new system martial arts performance has been refreshed, but Chen doesn't plan to challenge it so soon. He wants to wait until his civilization becomes a level 3 civilization. He turned on the ranked match function. At present, he is in the first season, with 0 games and 0 wins. The rank is initial bronze 3, 0 stars, and the highest rank of the player is only brilliant diamond. The ranks are initial bronze, advanced silver, glorious gold, brilliant diamond, unparalleled fighting god, and universe emperor. The most special thing is that in this ranked match mechanism, the number of bronze and silver ranks is unlimited. But the gold rank can only be obtained by 30 million people at most. The brilliant diamond is 300,000 people. There are 2,000 Wang Chen. There is only one cosmic emperor. When the season ends, people of different ranks will receive different rewards. Let's not talk about bronze, silver, and gold for now. Brilliant diamond can get 3 civilization blueprints of the current civilization level, as well as a large number of resource rewards. Don't think there are only 3 civilization blueprints here. In the later stage, the research cycle of a civilization blueprint may reach 2 or 3 years. Wang Chen can get all the rewards of brilliant diamond level, as well as a subordinate civilization that is only 1 level lower than the current level of his own civilization. Cosmic Emperor can not only get all the rewards of Wang Chen, but in the next 2 years, all the resource output of his civilization will be doubled, and he can also get a small amount of top resources. In the dream world, resources are divided into ordinary resources, low-level resources, intermediate resources, advanced resources and top-level resources. Ordinary resources are not worth mentioning. Low-level resources are suitable for level 3 and 4 civilizations. Intermediate resources are suitable for level 5 and 6 civilizations, advanced resources are suitable for level 7 and 8 civilizations, and top-level resources are only suitable for level 9 and 10 civilizations. Top-level resources are the hardest to find. This kind of resource cannot be produced by resource stars of higher levels. If you want to obtain it, you can only rely on luck. If you are lucky, this kind of resource may hit the civilization like a meteor. If you are unlucky, you may find it difficult to find it even after searching for 10,000 years. The ranking match can only allow players to fight one-on-one. The gameplay mechanism is the same as the single-player duel mode. Chen clicked on the match. In just 10 seconds, he entered the virtual world. Luan Civilization, rank bronze 3 2 stars. Chen saw the information of his opponent. Chen himself was only bronze 3 0 stars. It's not a big problem. Let's just do it the same as before. We need to occupy the resource star first. Even if I have upgraded my civilization to the 3rd level, I can't open any of the technology trees of the 3rd level civilization without the civilization blueprint. It's better to expand the army first. I just don't know how the opponent will play. The void demons are coming, and they still have the mind to play the ranking match. I'm sure they won't be a weak civilization. Chen thought to himself. You send a light fleet over there to find out the basic information of the opponent's civilization first. Now that Chen has more troops, he dares to send troops to patrol outside. Yes, my king, if you don't have an absolute advantage, don't send troops directly to the opponent's main star. The fortress must be built first, and the resource star must be occupied first to pave the way. Although this ranking match is a competition mode for obtaining resources, It can also be regarded as improving the player's experience in Star Wars. If there was such a mode in my previous life, maybe I wouldn't have to take so many detours. Chen stretched his waist. Now he only needs to give a general direction and doesn't need to do anything else. When both sides have gathered intelligence on each other and are almost ready to start the war, then he will start to work. It's a pity that the memory of the ranking match cannot be saved in the minds of those NPCs within the civilization. Otherwise, they can also grow with this function. Chen closed his eyes and lay on his big bed. This bed was specially made for the palace and can accommodate 10 people. I don't know what the person who made this bed was thinking at the time, but it is quite comfortable. Chen thought so. My God, Karl, some special things appeared in those space-time wormholes. The black-robed man took out a ball and handed it to Karl. Karl clicked on the projection function of the ball. A monster was roaring. This monster was exactly the same as what you saw in the Void Demon's Nest. In the constant transformation between fantasy and reality, attacks can affect the main universe, but attacks from the main universe cannot hurt him. Karl fell into deep thought. I didn't expect there would be such a surprise. Yoming, take this. Karl took out the triangular cube and handed it to Yoming. This is the Void cage I developed. I want you to bring back the Void monster. You can't hurt him. You just need to use this cage to catch it. I have sent you the instructions through a secret signal. Yes, my God. Yoming took the cube and left the hall. Zhao, what is that thing on your head? Chen got up early in the morning and saw a bubble projection on Zhao's head. Oh my king, you rubbed me? ? Chen was stunned. Zhao fiddled with her little hands and accused Yuru of her behavior. After watching her for a while, Chen finally figured out the truth of the matter. Just this morning, Yuru asked her for information. It turned out that she probably thought Zhao was very cute, and Chen was not there, so she hugged Zhao and played with her for a long time. Where did you learn this rub from? Online. Why do you have emoji bubbles? Because this is very popular on the internet recently. Okay. Chen touched his forehead and sighed. I told you to learn more on the internet, but I didn't mean to learn these useless things. Chen patted Zhao's little head. I know. Grievance.jpg. How is the occupation of resource stars now? We have successfully occupied 12 first-level resource stars and 3 second-level resource stars. The exploration team will arrive at the small star system where the other civilization is located in 3 days. Zhao told Chen the current information about foreign wars. 2 days ago, Chen went to inspect the implementation of his plan. Since the time flow rate of the qualifying competition is 365 to 1, if there is a problem with the implementation of his bill now, he can make changes immediately after leaving the qualifying competition. Pass it on. Let the logistics troops quickly build supply stations on the occupied resource stars. We will build supply stations all the way there, and finally build a fortress at this location to fight the other side. Chen pointed to a location on the star map. It was a third-level resource star, not far from the main star of the other civilization. Not to mention light battleships, even heavy firepower gunboats and main ships only need 10 days to reach the main star of the other side. If we build it so far, will our battle line be too long? Even if there are supply stations, we need to send troops to protect them. This will put a lot of pressure on our army. Zhao questioned. We don't need to care about those supply stations. I only need to keep the 10 supply stations close to the forefront active. It doesn't matter if the other supply stations are destroyed. Chen shook his head. He certainly knew that building an offensive fortress in such a remote place was a very dangerous thing in the absence of sufficient space technology. But this can also be made up. But the process requires a lot of military power, troops and resources. However, these things are not difficult for Shura Civilization, especially now that it is just a qualifying match. These resources are used up, and it doesn't matter much. Anyway, using them in the qualifying match does not mean that there will be any loss in the real world. Then ask the department to take out all the resources, and those low-level resources can be used without worrying about their efficiency. Chen began to issue one order after another to various departments of Shura Civilization through Zhao. Why did Chen dare to do this? Because now Chen already has more than 12,000 first-level space battleships and more than 500 second-level space battleships. There are more than 80,000 first-generation super soldiers and 6,000 second-generation super soldiers. This is why Chen dared to build a fortress in such a remote place to fight a war, because he knew that even if he did so, the civilization on the other side could not outlast him. After internal discussions in the book club, in fact, there is only one person without me, I decided to use Zhao's emoticon package system. By the way, I would like to advertise the book club Q1079705083. Chapter 27 Operations Meeting. In the conference room, Chen, Yur, Himo and other senior military officials of Shura Civilization were sitting here. In front of them, Zhao was playing a video. We are the Shura Civilization Exploration Force 01 formation. The force is equipped with 5 light first-level space battleships, 50 first-level super soldiers, 2 second-level super soldiers, and 500 ordinary soldiers. We have now arrived at the planet at the edge of the Nafra small galaxy. The Luan star where the Luan civilization is located is inside this galaxy. According to our exploration, they have begun to expand to resource stars. The other party has established a defense line outside their planet, but the specific number of troops and strength cannot be detected. According to our exploration, the other party currently has about 1,000 space battleships dispatched outside, and they should have occupied about 20 resource stars. The current exploration intelligence report is complete. The video stopped here. Everyone, what do you think of this civilization? Chen asked. Normally, as an interstellar civilization, the other side should want to get our light warships, which can reach the outer reaches of their galaxy at this time. If this is the case, the troops sent by the other side will not exceed 1/3 of the total army they have. So I estimate that the total number of the other side's troops is about 4,000 space battleships. Yu expressed her thoughts. If there are really only 4,000 space battleships, we can send troops to directly push them. A general said, no, don't underestimate any civilization. Chen shook his head. Just like Chen bought a void bomb in a limited time store before, no one knows whether the other civilization has bought anything powerful or found something by chance, especially when the other side has the confidence to enter the qualifying competition under the invasion of the void demons. Rash actions are likely to cause heavy losses to the troops and it will be difficult to win. For now, the battle plan arranged by my king is the most suitable. Himo spoke after thinking. Based on our current progress, the official start of the war will probably take about 5 months. By that time, our military strength can double, but we are not sure how much the enemy's military strength can be improved. Yura spoke again. Even if it can double, they may not be able to catch up and participate in the battle. The frontline troops are gradually advancing, but our new troops need extra time to reach the frontline positions. Chen took a sip of the coffee in front of him. My idea is to use void bombs to bombard the enemy's defense line directly after the frontline fortress is completed. We have enough void bombs. Under the continuous bombardment, even if the enemy has any trump cards, they can only use them by force. And we only have a small number of troops on the front line. After the enemy uses its trump cards, our follow-up troops will come out to harvest the enemy's army. Chen said, but if that's the case, the troop carrying the void bombs will become a bait, and it is even very likely to be annihilated. Himo raised doubts. This man, who was only in his 30s but already bald and wearing glasses, did not agree with this idea. So the leader of this decoy force must have strong ability to analyze the appropriate time to retreat. Are there any of you willing to recommend yourself? Chen looked around at the generals present, but no general dared to take on this task. It's not that they didn't dare to sacrifice themselves for the Shura civilization. The generals who were selected by Chen after layers of selection were all very loyal and willing to sacrifice themselves after thinking about their past and present lives. The reason why they didn't dare to take this task was that once they took it, they would be responsible for all the soldiers participating in this mission. I'll go. Yura's voice suddenly appeared in the conference room. You know how difficult this task is. Once you take it, Any misjudgment may lead to the annihilation of the entire army. Chen frowned and looked at Yura. I know, but I am willing to go. I believe in my own judgment, Yura said very firmly. Chen looked at her for a long time and suddenly smiled. Very good. It seems that our Shura civilization still has a general who can take on the heavy responsibility. Chen stood up and patted Yura on the shoulder. This task is handed over to you. All the troops, all the soldiers, and all the warships of our Shura civilization are at your disposal. Starting today, select the troops you want and start the simulation training. After saying this, Chen left the conference room, and this meeting ended here. Roar! The void monster stared at the tiny figure that suddenly appeared in front of it with its huge eyes. This giant beast is more than 60 meters long, with thick limbs and a tail that is more than 20 meters long. There is a horn on its head, but it has only one eye. Is this the void monster? Although my god Karl said that he only needs to catch you, however, let me try your ability first. The dark power condensed in the hands of the netherworld. Soon, a black energy ball formed in his hands, immune to ordinary attacks. Then let me try whether the dark matter energy can destroy you. The black energy ball smashed towards the giant beast. However, the black energy ball went straight through the body of the giant beast without causing any damage to it. It's really immune. It seems that attacks from the main universe should be ineffective against it, but this should be related to the fact that it is still in the semi-void interface. If it really comes to the main universe, its ability will definitely be weakened. Death God Karl calls himself the Dean of the Death God Academy, so most of his subordinates are scholars. Nether is the most outstanding one among them. So facing the scene at this time, he also began to think constantly. Well, in this case, I'll catch you first and hand you over to my god Karl for research. Nether took out the triangular cube, opened the unlock code and threw it at the void monster. The triangular cube suddenly turned into a purple energy body cage, wrapping the void monster in it. Under the suppression of the cage, the void monster gradually shrank, and the cage turned into a triangular cube again, and the void monster was also in it. This cage is really amazing. Yoming weighed the triangular cube in his hand and left through the wormhole. The void demon lair they were in before was the one next to Chen's Shura Civilization. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 The Eve of War. Empress, my troops have discovered that the Shura civilization is constantly paving the way towards us. Should we send troops to destroy their supply stations? The leader of the Luen civilization is a woman who is only about 20 years old. After entering the game, she called herself the Empress and the Queen. She is definitely not a benevolent monarch. In just over a year, she has killed many extremely beautiful women in the civilization. Not only that, all the handsome and good-looking men in the civilization were captured by her and brought to the palace to serve her. Despite this, she still has some brains. She cruelly forced her people to manufacture space battleships and super soldier genes. Under such coercion, the manufacturing speed of these things was actually faster than the theoretical speed given by the system. At the same time, she continued to occupy resource stars and has been ranked in the top 1 million on the power rankings. If you must say, she is actually an extreme hedonist. The qualifying record of the Luen civilization is 6 wins and 4 losses. She is lucky, and her top general is a very capable person. In terms of combat, she never gave any opinions, and it was all done by the general. The Shura civilization is the first civilization in the current power rankings. The other party may not have played a ranking match, otherwise it would not be the lowest level. Fan Yun thought to herself, this civilization is still very strong. How to fight? You decide for yourself. Fan Yun said that I don't know how to fight anyway, so it's better to completely delegate power to the generals under her. Fan Yun waved her hand and ate a peeled grape handed to her by her male favorite. Ling Zhao was the first general under Fan Yun, and the person with the most power in the Luen civilization besides Fan Yun. Ling Zhao looked at the unbearable scene in front of him, sighed, and left the hall. Of course, he knew that the other civilization was very strong, According to the intelligence given by the front-line exploration troops, the troops currently building the fortress of the other party alone have reached one-half of the army of the Luan civilization. This is the Luan civilization after 5 months of development. If it was 5 months ago, this force would have even exceeded the total number of troops of the Luan civilization. Forget it. At least she made me realize my ambition, and the exploration troops did not find that the other side had the experience of level 3 civilization, so this battle can still be fought. Ling Zhao shook his head. My king, the front-line fortress has been built. Zhao reported the current situation on the front line to Mo Chen. They attacked the supply stations several times before. Mo Chen sat on the throne and said with his eyes closed. A total of 6 supply stations were attacked by them, and 4 of them were successfully occupied by them, but they did not stay and left directly. Yeah, Mo Chen nodded. Have the troops set out? All the troops have begun to head to the fortress. What's the situation on the other side? Their fortress group has also been built. Have you estimated the number of troops they have? Mo Chen's fingers tapped rhythmically on the table. A rough estimate is 10,000 warships. 10,000? That's all. It's expected. Mo Chen opened the star map and began to study the opponent's deployment. As he looked at it, his brows suddenly frowned. No, it's very wrong. Mo Chen carefully checked the location of the enemy's fortress. There are almost no other planets around the enemy's fortress, which means that there is only a lonely fortress at that location. But not far away, there is a small galaxy where the planets are moving in a very special way. If their fortress is built there, the effect will be much better. If the enemy's generals are not stupid, then there must be some mystery. Otherwise they would never build a fortress at this location. My king, what should we do now? Aren't you a supercomputer? Can you estimate the possibilities of their arrangement like this? Zhao paused for a moment, and data flowed in her eyes. The following are the 3 most likely outcomes. The first is that the other side is carrying some kind of heavy firepower weapon and is not afraid to confront us head-on. The second is that this fortress is likely to be a self-destructing fortress, and they may have deployed a large number of space devices inside. The peripheral troops we are seeing now may be the only ones there, and the rest of the troops have returned to the main star through the space devices. When we capture the fortress, it is very likely that it will explode and destroy all our troops. The third is that the other side has some kind of defense device that can forcibly resist our army, and during the resistance, they may send out a suicide demolition team to forcibly demolish our fortress. It is also possible that they actually have some kind of hidden measures, and the other side wants to use the fortress to distract our attention, and then send troops to directly attack our main star. Zhao said the most likely outcome. Alas, it turns out that you can't underestimate any opponent. Mo Chen sighed. But fortunately, the problem is not big. Even if the other party wants to attack the main star, there is nothing they can do. We now have about 18,000 warships in our mobilization outside, and there are 8,000 warships on the main star. They are destined to lose more than they gain from our main star. Even if they have heavy firepower weapons, we also have them. We will not be at a disadvantage in a head-on battle. As for the self-destruction of the fortress, we can judge whether there is anything wrong with their fortress by the degree of resistance during the attack. Let's proceed according to the original plan. However, just in case, I will not go to the front line this time. Zhao, you have always been in charge of the research of civilization blueprints. Now the research speed of the 3rd level civilization blueprint is about 1 every 2 months. The civilization blueprint acceleration symbol has been used. Do you think it is necessary for us to build another 2nd level supercomputer to assist in the research? Grievance.jpg. As soon as he finished speaking, Mo Chen saw an emoticon bubble popping up above Zhao's head. At the same time, the big eyes on her exquisite anthropomorphic doll face also became watery. It's not that I don't want you anymore, I just want to share the research pressure and increase the research speed. I'm just going to create another one, don't worry. The first one to upgrade to a level 3 supercomputer will definitely be you. You are unique. Mo Chen rubbed Zhao's little head. Okay, reluctantly believed your nonsense.jpg. The bubble just popped up and disappeared immediately. Mo Chen, half a month later. My king, All the troops have arrived at the front-line fortress. Zhao cast a screen in Mo Chan's palace. The scene on the screen was the front-line fortress conference room. In the conference room, all the senior generals of Shura Civilization were ready. Is your bait force ready? Mo Chen asked. We can go out at any time. Yu replied. Okay. Mo Chen stood up from the throne. Begin the attack. Chapter 29. Luring the enemy. In the front-line fortress of Shura Civilization, a force of 800 space battleships was preparing to set off. The void bombs have been checked. The dark matter engine has been checked. The energy shield has been checked. Shall we set off? Let's set off. Yu nodded. The 800 battleships left the front-line fortress. It will take us about half a day to reach the enemy fortress group. The exploration team will keep us informed of the enemy's intelligence. Our mission is to drop void bombs on the enemy fortress and try to attract the enemy's army to attack us. There are only 10 battleships carrying void bombs, and the remaining 790 battleships will do their best to cover the 10 battleships. If we can successfully attract the enemy's army, we will immediately withdraw to the fortress. Although there are not many troops in the fortress now, but we only need to hold on for 2 hours, and a large number of troops in the subsequent supply station will come to encircle and suppress them. After the troops set off, you emphasize the combat mission for the last time. At present, there are only 2,000 space battleships as defenders in the front-line fortress. According to the intelligence provided by Shura Civilization, a large number of troops left this front-line fortress not long ago. The number of the troops that left reached more than 10,000 warships. This army went to a place closer to the main star of Luan Civilization to build a fortress. The reason why Mo Chen thought that such an arrangement would not be suspected by the other side was because the current front-line fortress just blocked the army in the other side's fortress, and they had no way to send troops to stop the army close to the main star. If the troops of Luan Civilization want to stop the army with more than 10,000 space battleships, they must first dismantle this front-line fortress. This is actually an open conspiracy. The only danger is whether Yu's 800 bait troops can retreat safely and whether the 2,000 defenders can hold on for 2 hours. This is definitely a severe test for Yu, because in addition to the soldiers on the 800 and warships, they are specially selected elites from various troops. The defenders on the other 2,000 space battleships responsible for defense are all newly trained. It is also the last army of Shura Civilization to arrive at the front-line fortress. Mo Chen announced the start of the war after this army arrived. Soon, half an hour later, the decoy force arrived at the front-line fortress of the Luan Civilization. However, they had been attacked 4 times along the way. It was through Yu's calm and composed command that the force was able to successfully reach the enemy fortress. The original 800 space battleships were now less than 700. Advance at full speed and reach the bombardment range of the void bomb as quickly as possible. This well-trained force implemented Yu's instructions very well. More than 600 space battleships resisted all artillery damage on the periphery and protected the 10 battleships in the middle that carried the void bombs. General, I feel something is wrong. In the fortress of the Luan Civilization, a general in a silver robe said to Ling Zhao, I feel it too. Look at this fleet. There are several battleships that have been protected in the very center. They can't be here to die. There must be something wrong with these battleships. Concentrate the artillery fire and aim at those battleships and fire. Ling Zhao immediately ordered. Yes. General, the enemy seems to have discovered our warships, and the firepower attack on our 10 warships has become much stronger. I can feel it. Yu frowned. There are only 5 minutes left before entering the range of the void bomb. Defend with all your strength, because only when the danger of the void bomb is revealed to the enemy may come out in full force to encircle and suppress them, so they must release the void bomb. They defend too tightly. We really have no way to attack the warships in the middle. Wait. They slowed down. The gun barrels of the warships in the middle have started to operate. There was a sudden commotion in the command room of the front-line fortress of the Luan Civilization. The enemy opened fire. Under the attention of everyone in the command room, the void bombs of the Shura Civilization warships were released. Boom. Sound cannot be transmitted in a vacuum. but everyone in the command room can definitely hear the explosion of the fortress. The power system of the fortress has been destroyed. More than 300 space battleships were destroyed in the hangar. One bad news after another came to Ling Zhao. They want to lure us out and attack them. Ling Zhao was very calm. But General, the power system of our fortress has been destroyed. Now even if we don't want to go out, we have to go out. A general under Ling Zhao said anxiously. Of course I know. Ling Zhao's voice was a little vicious. Of course, this viciousness was not directed at the generals beside him, but at the troops led by Yura. All troops leave the fortress. This army has always been causing trouble. Destroy them all. Ling Zhao waved his arm fiercely, put it behind him, and left the command room. General, their army has come out of the fortress and seems to be coming towards us. The soldiers under Yura said, release a void bomb at the enemy's front-line troops, and then retreat immediately. Under Yura's command, a void bomb bombarded the troops of the Luan civilization that rushed to the front. About 50 space battleships were completely destroyed by the explosion of this void bomb. When Ling Zhao saw this scene, his eyes suddenly turned red, but he forced himself to calm down. Yusu, let the soldiers on that warship prepare for battle. Didn't I use that warship directly? The general named Yusu asked. They want to attract us to attack their fortress. There must be an ambush there? But the ambushing army can't rush here immediately. After all, their army did leave the fortress, although it is not certain whether all of them have built a new fortress. It will take time to defend their current fortress. As long as we use that warship, we are sure to quickly defeat the defenders of their fortress. Once the occupation is successful, our 10,000 space battleships here rely on the fortress and can definitely compete with the opponent's army. Even if it is a protracted war, they will not be able to hold on. Ling Zhao is indeed the top general of the Luan civilization. In fact, he has guessed the layout plan of the Shura Civilization, but the artillery they showed before has proved their strength. If they still carry such artillery, that's why we should attack immediately and completely destroy this patch of artillery. Yusu was interrupted by Ling Zhao before he finished speaking. The other side is also a second-level civilization. This level of weapons must be limited. As long as these weapons are destroyed, there is that warship on the front battlefield. Even if they have more warships than us, we still have a chance to win. Ling Zhao looked at the retreating troops not far away, his eyes full of murderous intent. You can join the Book Friends group. The group number is in the Book Friends circle. In this way, if there are recommendation ticket red envelopes, everyone can know it first. Chapter 30 Surrounded. General, their troops are very close to us. In 1 minute at most, we will be within their artillery range. Since Yura's warships were heavy firepower warships and not very fast, the light cruisers of the Luan civilization were about to catch up with them. Although the range of firepower ships is longer than that of light cruisers, the number of enemy warships is too large after all. Even if one is destroyed, there are still other warships approaching quickly. How much artillery fire is left? Yura asked. The laser main gun can still fire 20 rounds, and the other large and small artillery can basically fire 400 rounds. A local soldier in the command room answered immediately. The warship turns around. Why? A group of soldiers in the command room asked in confusion. Disable the anti-seismic system. All warships start to reverse. Main guns are ready to fire. Yura did not explain to the soldiers, but directly issued several orders in succession. At this time, their troops were about half an hour away from the fortress. The main gun of the warship was placed at the front of the warship and could only fire forward, not backward. The maximum speed of a warship in reverse is only half of its forward speed. However, after the anti-vibration system is turned off, the speed of the warship can be increased by 3 or 4 times through the recoil of the main gun. But the problem is that the current materials of the warship may not be enough to sail for a long time at such a speed. Once it exceeds 5 minutes, the system will have problems due to the heat of the warship's external materials. General, this is too risky, an officer said. It will be even more risky to stay here. Yura shook her head. I have tested this method in the virtual system. Our heavy firepower warships and frigates can support about 5 minutes. And light cruisers can support 4 minutes. Our unit does not have light cruisers, only heavy firepower ships and frigates. 5 minutes is enough to open up a lot of distance from them, allowing us to return to the fortress smoothly. Under Yura's command, all the warships began to turn around and reverse. General, what's going on with them? Yusu looked at the scene in front of him, a little confused, and asked Ling Zhao. Their main guns are charging. Do they think they can't escape? So they want to fight to the death? Although Ling Zhao is a very capable general, he has little experience in space warfare, and he is a little confused at this time. Slow down the light cruiser in front a little, and all the gunboats are ready to fire. Ling Zhao had no choice but to issue such an order. Under Ling Zhao's gaze, Yura's warship opened fire. No, they turned off the anti-seismic system. They want to use the recoil of the gunfire to speed up their retreat. Ling Zhao discovered the problem by observing the speed of Yura's troops. However, the main gun firepower of the more than 400 space battleships left on Yura's side should not be underestimated. The light cruisers of the Luan civilization have no way to pursue at full speed. Damn it! Ling Zhao slammed his fist on the table, but at the moment he had no choice but to watch Yura's troops leave. Forget it. Let them go first. Wait until we reach the gate of the enemy's fortress, then kill them directly. 20 minutes later, Yura's troops retreated smoothly back to the fortress. At this time, the defenders of the fortress had already prepared for battle. Not only that, the defense system of the fortress had also been fully opened. A huge light blue energy shield enveloped the entire fortress. Yura's troops returned to the fortress, and the troops of the Liuan civilization arrived right after. No need to rest. Attack directly. Ling Zhao also knew that the encircling army would arrive soon. His original plan was to use the powerful space battleship owned by his civilization to quickly occupy the fortress of the Shura Civilization. In fact, every civilization will have a special treasure left on the resource star around its civilization. The Shura Civilization actually has one, but Chen is not going to take it yet, because this powerful item is randomly refreshed in any level of resource star near the civilization. The Shura Civilization's item is on a level 5 resource star. Bring out the Queen ship, Ling Zhao said. This 5th level civilization warship is not actually called the Queen ship, but the Queen of the Luan civilization changed its name directly after finding this warship. The largest size of a normal 2nd level warship, that is, a heavy firepower ship, is 600 meters long, 200 meters wide, and 400 meters high, but the Queen ship, a 5th level civilization heavy firepower ship, is 2,000 meters long, 700 meters wide, and 900 meters high. It had been located behind the troops before and was not discovered by Yura. It came out at this time, but it gave people a strong sense of shock. Yura also saw this warship at this moment, but in fact, the main gun of this warship had already been charged. When it appeared in the field of vision of the Shura Civilization fortress, its main gun had already fired. Be careful to avoid, Yura shouted, but it was too late at this moment. More than 400 of the 2,000 warships were destroyed in an instant. The defense system of the fortress was also defeated by the shot. It takes an hour to reopen. Fortunately, due to the low level of civilization and too few resources of the Luan civilization, the main gun of the Queen ship needs at least 2 hours of charging time to launch another attack. However, other guns except the main gun can be fired at any time. All void bombs should be loaded. Yura signed and issued this order. Although the destructive power of the void bomb is equivalent to the main gun of the 6th level firepower ship, however, the strong destructive power does not mean that it is a strong threat to a 5th level firepower ship. The void bomb's ability to destroy the energy shield of the warship is not strong. Its main strength lies in the range, the destructive power to organisms and low-level space battleships. If they were facing a first-generation god body at this time, the threat of the void bomb would increase exponentially. But what they are facing now is the energy shield of a 5th-level battleship. The range of the gunfire of this battleship is much larger than our battleship, so do a good job of cover. Yura looked at the behemoth in the distance, and her heart was full of worries. 200 battleships rushed towards the Queen ship under Yura's command, but the 200 warships were decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. When they reached the range of the void bombs, there were less than 50 of the 200 warships left. At the same time, The more than 2,000 space warships responsible for defense were almost desperate to stop the remaining troops of the Lewin civilization. Rays of light were released from the warships close to the Queen's ship. Those void bombs hit the energy shield of the Queen's ship, and the color of the energy shield of the Queen's ship quickly faded in the explosion. Under Yura's gaze, the last void bomb passed through the energy shield and hit the main body of the Queen's ship. Although there was no sound, Yura could also feel the horror of the aftermath of the explosion. Not only the troops sent out before, but also many troops of the Lewin civilization around were affected and all destroyed. Damn, Ling Zhao cursed in the command room. To be honest, the void bomb was refreshed 3 times in the limited time store. Chen bought more than 200 rounds in total. If he must start a war, remove the constraints of technology. From the perspective of firepower alone, the Shura civilization can actually be called a 5th-level civilization. However, a piece of good news soon reached Ling Zhao. Although the Queen ship suffered a lot of damage, it can still be used after repairs, but it may not be able to participate in this war. Not bad. Ling Zhao exhaled deeply. After learning that the Queen ship was not destroyed, the stone in his heart finally fell to the ground. Attack with all your strength. They only have a little over 1,000 warships now, and the fortress's defense system has also been breached. Take them down within an hour, Ling Zhao said coldly. However, with the help of the void bomb, although they successfully destroyed 500 space battleships within an hour, they still failed to enter the fortress. The war has lasted for an hour and a half, and Yura's side has lost nearly 2,000 warships. But in fact, the Lewin civilization has also suffered a lot. When the Queen ship was still able to fight, the battle loss ratio between the two sides was 120. Yura lost more than 1,000 warships, and Li Yuan lost about 60. After the Queen's ship was defeated, the Shura civilization's troops used void bombs to win 1,000 for 3,000. According to Li Yuan's intelligence, the Shura civilization's encirclement troops will arrive in half an hour. Now Ling Zhao has 2 choices: retreat immediately, just in case, or take advantage of the last half hour to forcibly attack the remaining 500 defenders of the opponent's fortress. The Queen's ship is no longer able to fight, and our firepower is not at full capacity. If we retreat now, if the opponent catches up, we will not be able to compete with it. And if we retreat now, it will be difficult to explain after losing so much. Their artillery firepower cannot be unlimited. It is very likely that they no longer have such firepower shells. Ling Zhao took a deep breath and said this to everyone in the command room: continue to attack. At the same time, Yura also encountered problems. The Shura fortress actually only had 150 void bombs in total. At this time, 130 void bombs had been consumed in the previous battle, and more than 80 of these 130 were destroyed along with the warships carrying them before they were released. In other words, in the last half hour, she needed to rely on the remaining 20 void bombs and 500 space battleships to resist the attack of more than 7,000 space battleships on the other side. It's just a desperate battle. Yura took a deep breath. For the Shura civilization, the last half hour was so long. They withstood round after round of artillery fire, and the remaining 20 void bombs were all used up in just 15 minutes. Friendly warships were destroyed one after another. For the Lewin civilization, the last half hour was so fast. Time was flying, but they always encountered stubborn resistance. Finally, a large number of warships came from afar. The large forces of the Shura civilization rushed to the battlefield. Yura and Ling Zhao both slumped in their seats. It's just that one was relieved, while the other was desperate. The army led by Himo successfully surrounded the army of Li Yuan civilization. As we all know, in Grand Theft Auto, if you fire the gun barrel of a tank backwards, the tank can drive faster than a sports car. Chapter 31 Fate's Hair Loss. Finally, after the encirclement was formed, the troops led by Ling Zhao were almost completely wiped out, and only a few space battleships escaped. From this moment on, the Shura civilization had actually won the war. Afterwards, it took them only a week to conquer the main star of the Lewin civilization. But something happened during this period. The Lewin civilization actually sent 2,000 space battleships to attack the main star of the Shura civilization. However, Before these 2,000 battleships arrived at the main star, they were completely wiped out by the Divine Energy Collection Tower Defense Army led by Jiba. It took another 2 months after this war, because the Shura Civilization still needs to occupy all the resource stars of the Luan Civilization. The ranking match is considered a victory. This round of ranking match took a total of 8 months, which is equivalent to 16 hours in the real world. When the last resource star of the Luan Civilization was occupied, the symbol of victory appeared in front of Chen. Then he left the virtual world of the ranking match. At this time, his rank also became Bronze 3-1 star. My king, that void monster disappeared. Chen heard this message as soon as he exited the martial arts interface. Disappeared? Chen was stunned. He remembered that the void monster seemed to be guarding the void demon in the void demon's lair. Where are the void demons in there? Chen asked Zhao. Those void demons have all disappeared. For the time being, we can only confirm that they should not have entered the main universe. Zhao replied, have you analyzed that place? I have analyzed all the videos of the defenders there, but I didn't find any useful information. Chen thought silently for a while. Don't worry about it, maybe it was swallowed by some powerful existence in the void plane. Chen touched Zhao's head. At this time, Zhao's clone robot had become a 30 centimeters tall exquisite doll with 4 golden blue light wings on its back. The appearance is the same as an elf girl, and this is also the form that Chen is most satisfied with. Chen actually has always had this idea, that is, to transform a few more habitable ecological planets. It's just that there are too many things to be done on Shura Star now, so this plan cannot be implemented for the time being. But we can start preparing. Chen marked several coordinates on the star map. There are a large number of resource stars around the planets he marked. At the same time, these planets are close to the main stars of some players. It can be said that once these planets are transformed into ecological stars, they can not only help Shura Civilization obtain a large amount of resources, but also have good strategic significance. The most important thing to transform an ecological star is to obtain a technology tree. The technology tree can be manufactured by civilization at any moment, but the manufactured technology trees are brand new, and there is no technology on them. In other words, if such a technology tree is loaded on the transformed ecological star, then the technology level of this planet is equivalent to the technology of zero-level civilization. However, higher-level technology trees can indeed be obtained by exploring ruins and exchanging activities. In the previous life, when Chen's Moling civilization was transformed from a 6th-level civilization to a 7th-level civilization, it was through the exchange of activities that the technology tree was obtained. This Void Invasion event seems to have a reward for the exchange of the 3rd-level technology tree in the end. The exchange requirement seems to be 50,000 points. In the Void Invasion event, 500 points will be awarded for every month that the main star of the civilization persists without being completely occupied. Successfully conquering the Void Demon Nest can get 10,000 points. At present, the Shura Civilization is 100% sure to spend a year in peace. This is 6,000 points, plus they have successfully conquered 3 Void Demon Nests, add up to 36,000 points. At the same time, since the previous demon nest with void monsters is completely empty, the Shura Civilization can occupy it immediately. Then this will be 46,000 points. What Chen has to do now is to send troops to more distant places to clear out the void demon nests. There are a total of 12 void demon nests within the 8 cubic light years around the Shura Civilization. These 12 nests are also all that Chen is confident of conquering before the end of the event. Zhao, help me connect with fate. Chen said, okay, my king. Zhao's eyes flashed with various status dreams, and soon a light curtain shot out from her eyes. Fate's figure was in the light curtain. My king, I wonder what instructions you have. Fate asked with a slight bow. I said before that the first-generation supercomputer can be integrated into the body of a super soldier. How is your research going now, my king? It's still the same problem as before? Energy. The body of an ordinary super soldier simply does not have enough energy to power a first-generation supercomputer. Fate was also very embarrassed by the technical problems raised by his king one after another. Many of the research directions given by Chen now were carried out when the Moling civilization reached the 5th and 6th levels of civilization in the previous life. At present, this plan to use supercomputers in the bodies of super soldiers was proposed by a researcher at the time when the Moling civilization reached the 4th level of civilization in the previous life. But at that time, the research on these technologies had been going on for 100 years. At that time, this plan could be proposed and finally implemented, and there was a lot of experimental and research foundations. Now that Chen gave such a research direction to Fate, it was indeed a bit difficult for him. I have said this before, the supercomputer does not need to run for a long time in the super soldier's body. It only needs to be started for analysis when necessary. This solution was proposed by the famous scientists in Moling's previous life, but Chen is not a researcher who specializes in research. Although the solution is indeed this solution, it requires certain facilities and conditions to be realized. These things have not been manufactured by the current Shura civilization. This is also the reason why Fate cannot complete this task now. My king, this theory can indeed be implemented, but it is not something we can implement now. The energy required for the operation of a supercomputer is too huge. The operation of Zhao's supercomputer has almost occupied 1/10 of the current energy of our civilization. We don't feel the burden because we have sufficient energy reserves. Even if there is another supercomputer like this, there will be no problem. But for a super soldier, the energy for its startup alone cannot be supplied. If our super soldier successfully upgrades to a 3rd-generation super soldier, then the solution of using the primary energy in the universe may be completed. But now, it is absolutely impossible. After a month of research, Fate has thoroughly understood all aspects and details of this research. That's why he could answer Chen so absolutely. It's not a technical problem, it's just an energy problem. If the 1st-generation super soldiers and the 2nd-generation super soldiers use the dark matter energy in the primary resources, they are giving up their lives. The operation of dark matter energy can only be endured by the physical fitness of the 3rd-generation super soldiers or above. If they have the ability to make the 2nd-generation super soldiers able to drive the dark matter energy, then what is the difference between this 2nd-generation super soldier and the 3rd-generation super soldier? Sometimes Fate really wants to split Chen's head to see what's inside. He obviously doesn't know anything, but he can come up with so many research directions. That is to say, before the 3rd-generation super soldier gene technology is developed, this plan cannot be implemented. Indeed. Well, Chen shook his head and took a notebook from the table. A line of text was crossed out from it. This notebook records many research plans that Chen intends to start implementing. At present, the research plan combining super soldiers and supercomputers has been proven to be unsuccessful. Chen simply crossed it out and planned to change it to the next plan. For some reason, Fate felt a little nervous when he looked at the full text on Chen's notebook. Although he had also implanted the super soldier gene in the past year, the hair on his head became even thinner. Fate, you are the hero of our civilization. Our civilization is so strong now because of you. Chen suddenly sighed. This is my duty. As long as I can make sure a civilization stronger, I will do my best. After hearing what Chen said, Fate immediately knelt on the ground and said, "Okay. In that case, then I will assign you another task." Chen looked at his notebook. "Do you think that if our civilization now develops a batch of heavy mechanical robots, all of which are made of primary metals, we already have experience in researching nanomechas, now we can make such a batch of giant robots, right?" Gundam, Chen's favorite anime when he was a child. This is not actually a research plan for a semi-mechanical life form civilization, but he exchanged the research times of non-civilization system branch technology from the limited time mall. So he wanted Fate to research this branch technology. Although the giant Gundam will be particularly conspicuous on the battlefield, the firepower and threat it brings are unmatched by ordinary super soldiers. I will definitely not let my king down, but it will take time to build such a robot. Within half a year, I will definitely be able to build such a robot. and its combat capability should be between the first-generation super soldier and the first-level space battleship. Fate touched the remaining hair and said, "Okay, I know you can do it." Chen smiled and asked Zhao to turn off the communication projection. "Everything is on the right track, so I will play a few more qualifying matches next." Chen stretched and opened the martial arts interface again. Chapter 32 Virtual Combat League. With the rapid development of civilization and the continuous implementation of various laws, 10 months passed quickly. In these 10 months, Chen played a total of 180 qualifying games. He won all of these 180 qualifying games. The longest game lasted for 1.5 years, 1.5 days, and the shortest game lasted for 2 months, 4 hours. After completing the first 55 consecutive wins, he reached the rank of Silver 110 stars. After challenging the lowest player in the gold rank standings and winning, he successfully advanced to the gold rank. After winning 40 consecutive qualifying games, he became the first in the gold rank standings. After that, he was promoted to the diamond rank. However, since the number of Washwangdaoshan rank is not full now, he cannot challenge the last player in the Washwangdaoshan rank, so he needs to get 6,000 points in the diamond rank before he can be promoted to Washwangdaoshan. Now he has just obtained 6,000 points and has become a new Washwangdaoshan. At the same time, in addition to the victory in the qualifying match, the Demon Nest occupation plan has also entered its final stage. All 12 demon nests that can be occupied around the Shura Civilization have been successfully occupied. Now he only needs to wait for the end of the Void Invasion event, and he can directly obtain points and then go to the event mall to exchange items. In these 10 months, the limited time mall has wiped out something he has always dreamed of. That is the technology tree of the second level civilization. This item was only one for all players in that month, and the price was as high as 500,000 divine diamonds. In the end, this item was bought by Chen. As a result, the new ecological transformation plan was officially put into the Shura Civilization's plan for the next year. At the same time, Fate's research on large-scale mechanical armor has also achieved certain results. Chen decisively named this Mecha Gundam. Now the first batch of first-level Gundam robots, a total of 5,000, have been fully produced. These Gundam robots do not require super soldiers, but only ordinary soldiers can drive them, and their combat effectiveness is much higher than that of super soldiers. It is extremely important that this Gundam robot can fight directly in the universe. In addition to these, all the laws established by Chen before were also implemented very smoothly. The martial arts school law and the dark matter education law have enabled the newly joined super soldiers to adapt very quickly. The quality of the recent super soldier selection and soldier selection has been getting better and better. At the same time, the virtual combat law has been highly respected by the people of Shura Civilization. Even the first virtual combat game professional league has been established. However, most of the teams in this professional league are representative teams of various colleges and universities. The military and the royal family also have their own teams to participate in this professional league. Of course, there are also private teams. These teams are basically purchased by various companies. The top combat game masters in the civilian world are selected as team members. At present, there are a total of 72 teams that have been registered in the professional league. 60 are college teams, 1 royal team, 1 military team, and 10 private teams. Each team consists of a manager, a head coach, 2 assistant coaches, 6 main players and at least 5 and up to 8 substitutes. The professional league is divided into 3 modes of battlefields. The first one is a single challenge. Each team sends 1 person to participate in the single challenge. The winner stays on the field and waits for the next combatant of the other team to come on the field. There are 3 rounds in total for the single challenge, and 1 point is awarded for each victory. The second item is the 3-person task battle. Each team sends 3 people. After entering the virtual map, both sides will receive conflicting tasks. Whichever side completes the task wins. The tasks of each game are different. and the comprehensive ability of the players will be tested. The last item is the 6-person team battle. This competition is the most direct team confrontation. Compared with the previous 3-person task battle, many virtual ones are removed. Both sides enter a virtual map. The virtual map will refresh the crystal core at any time. Points can be obtained by obtaining the crystal core, and points can also be obtained by killing the opponent's members. As long as neither side is wiped out, the final victory will be determined by points. But as long as any one of the sides is wiped out, no matter how high the points of the wiped side are, the other side will win. Since the combat effectiveness of the royal team and the military team is extremely strong, these two teams do not participate in the regular season. Instead, they will directly participate in the challenge tournament. That is to say, teams that cannot successfully enter the playoffs after the regular season will be able to obtain tickets to the playoffs from the royal team and the military team through the challenge tournament. A total of 14 playoff teams will be decided in the regular season, and the challenge tournament will give 2 playoff team places. The current professional league is divided into the Eastern Division and the Western Division. In the regular season, the Eastern Division will get 7 playoff places, and the Western Division will also get 7 playoff places. The challenge tournament randomly selects the royal team and the military team to go to any of the Eastern or Western divisions. In the regular season, the unsuccessful teams only need to compete with 2 Big Devil level teams in the challenge tournament and become the team with the highest points list to enter the playoffs. In the playoffs, the royal team and the military team will not participate directly. The 2 teams need to compete with each other. Whoever wins will directly enter the finals to compete with the other team that successfully advances to the finals after continuous fighting. The final champion is determined. For fairness, the age of professional players participating in the professional league shall not exceed 40 years old. Currently, the first professional league is being prepared, and Chen will also be invited to participate in the opening ceremony of the first virtual combat professional league. The members of the royal team were all selected by Chen himself. Du and Liu Nian, 2 warriors who were highly expected by Chen and would be responsible for his marching mission in the future, were sent by Chen to be the captain and vice-captain of the royal team. The members of the military team have not yet been fully assembled. It is necessary to wait until they return to the main star from the distant battlefield, the Void Demon Lair War, to completely decide who will be the members of the military team. Since the regular season lasts for half a year, the military team is not in a hurry for the time being. On the contrary, due to the upcoming regular season, all other teams are in intense preparation. The Imperial Capital University team is the most nervous. Imperial Capital University is now the #1 university in the Shura Civilization, and therefore, they do not need to participate in the college competition to directly obtain a place in the professional league team. But the members of their team are not strong, because the cultural score of Imperial Capital University is too high. Although education reforms have been carried out before, however, the cultural scores of the Imperial Capital University did not drop much. As a result, most of the students who came to the Imperial Capital University were students who mainly took cultural exams. Many very outstanding combat students failed to enter the Imperial Capital University because of insufficient cultural scores, or it should be said that the Imperial Capital University missed these outstanding students. So now the Imperial Capital University team can only send their students to the army to train together. I hope that through these trainings, the strength of their team will be improved. Since the Virtual Combat Act was introduced by the royal family and implemented throughout the civilization, therefore, this professional league has also been watched by everyone in the civilization. Under such circumstances, the first Virtual Combat Professional League began. Chapter 33, First Regular Season Game. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the opening ceremony of the Virtual Combat Professional League. I am the commentator of this game, Zitong. I am the commentator of this game, Lulu. The screen above the league's combat hall was projected with the screen of the commentary room. Zitong and Lulu are both top players who have emerged from the virtual combat game ranking competition. Zitong is a very handsome young man, and Lulu is also young and beautiful. After the opening ceremony, we will also usher in the first regular season of the professional league. The two sides are the Yulin University team and the Yunfeng team under the Yunfeng group. We can see that the members of both teams are already waiting in the preparation area. Look, that's the king of our civilization. Today, our king Chen will cut the ribbon for the opening of the Virtual Combat League. Zitong was very excited in the commentary booth. Chen, of course, could not hear the voices from the commentary booth. He just smiled and sat on the throne in front of the stage, trying his best to highlight his personal charm. Of course, the camera shooting the stage could only shoot his back, but occasionally he would be given one or two shots. After all, he is not the protagonist this time. The protagonists are the professional players of the two teams that are about to appear. Okay, thank you for your speech, my king. After finishing his speech, his task before the start of the game was completely over. After a while, after the game is over, he still needs to comfort the members of the two teams. During these processes, there are cameras following the whole process, all to highlight his bright and powerful spirit and benevolent love for the people. Then, the opening ceremony is over, and we will usher in the first game of the regular season. Next, the Yulin University team will play against the Yunfeng team. The whole stage fell into a climax amid the host's voice, and the members of the two teams also began to enter the war rooms on both sides of the stage. Very good. We can see that the first game of the regular season has begun. Lulu, what do you think of these two teams? First of all, the Yulin University team. The captain of this team, Hua Tong, is very strong. He is currently ranked 4th in the top qualifying list, and their vice-captain Ha Yu has also demonstrated strong command ability in the previous offline competitions. However, the Yunfeng team should not be underestimated. Every member of this team is a master that the Yunfeng group has spent a high price to pull from the top qualifying list. It can be said that each of them has extremely strong combat capabilities. So if I must compare, I think that the Yunfeng team is likely to win the individual competition, but that may not be the case in the subsequent 3-person and 6-person team competitions. Lulu gave her answer through analysis of the members of the two teams. Actually, my opinion is basically the same as yours. I heard that since a month ago, all the college teams have entered a collective preparation state. During that period, their members basically did not participate in the qualifying competition, but continued to cultivate their tacit understanding. So, I think that the Yulin University team is very likely to win the team competition later. We all know that the individual competition has a total of 3 points, and you can get 1 point for each game you win. The 3-person team competition has 2 points. The side that wins gets the 2 points, and in the 6-person team competition, you can get 1 point for each enemy member you kill. The 6-person team competition lasts for a total of 1 hour, and a crystal core is refreshed every 10 minutes. Each time you get one, you get 1 point. Once the opponent is wiped out, the crystal core points of both sides will no longer count. The side that wipes out the opponent will directly get 6 points, and the side that is wiped out will get points based on the number of people they defeated. Zitong repeated the rules of the team competition as if reciting a book. So, Lulu took over his words. The last 6-person team competition is the main competition for earning points. As long as the cooperation is perfect, even if the previous individual competition and 3-person team competition are failed, you can still catch up with the points and get the final victory in this game. Yes, we can now see the roster of the first individual competition of both sides. In the first game, the Yulin University team sent Lehai. This player uses dual guns and is a long-range offensive player, and the Yunfeng team sent directly their captain, Munan. Munan's weapon before has always been the Fang Tianhua Ji, but I heard that he recently changed his weapon to a sickle. Oh, sickle? This weapon is much more difficult to master than the Fang Tianhua Ji. Lulu and Zitong sang the same tune. Yes, you are right, but I heard that this weapon was chosen for the sake of teamwork. It is also to adapt to the sickle weapon that Munan has disappeared from the peak list recently. I hope he has mastered this weapon thoroughly and can bring us a visual feast. Yes, the game has begun. The map that both players entered is the Forbidden Sea of Fire. Seeing that the game had begun, Lulu interrupted Zitong's introduction to Munan. The Forbidden Sea of Fire is a very obvious battle map. Since it is surrounded by the Sea of Fire, There is only one straight path in front of the players on both sides. In other words, if you want to win, you can only rely on your own hard power. Okay, we see that Mutong has rushed towards the opponent. This huge sickle has reduced his movement speed to a certain extent. Facing a player like Lehigh who uses light long-range firepower, he may be at a disadvantage. Lehigh is constantly moving backwards. At the same time, his dual guns have been releasing lasers, causing damage to Munan. Munan's health is constantly decreasing. Lehigh suddenly stopped, Zitong said in shock. Lehigh placed the two guns in a specific position and began to charge. This is to combine the laser attacks of the two guns into one and release a powerful attack. Munan used his movement to avoid it. Because of Lehigh's previous pause, Munan is now very close to him. Hooked. Munan hooked Lehigh from the side with his sickle. Munan's sickle can actually be extended. Lehigh made a mistake. He couldn't get rid of it, and he was thrown heavily to the ground by Munan. Munan continued to attack Lehigh. Since Lehigh used two guns as weapons, he had no way to compete with Munan's giant sickle in close combat. We can see that Munan is very skilled in the use of sickles. Such a sickle that can be extended to hook the opponent's target at a long distance will make Munan a great deterrent to the opponent in the subsequent team competitions. Lehigh's health has reached a very dangerous level, but he still can't get rid of it. Congratulations to Munan for winning this game. Yun team gets 1 point. Munan only lost 30% of his health in the early stages of the chase, but almost no blood was lost in the end, which means that Munan is very likely to accomplish a 1-on-2 feat. So, is it possible for Munan to accomplish a 1-on-2 feat in the first game of the regular season? The second game will start soon, so let's wait and see. Chapter 34, 1-2. Let's take a look at the match lists of both sides. The second game will be between Munan and Haiyu of the Yulin University team. We all know that Haiyu is the brains of the Yulin University team, but based on the information from these offline games and the college league, Haiyu is not good at individual combat. Yes, through the live broadcast of the college league, we can see that Haiyu is not good at close combat. As a heavy artilleryman, he is better at seizing opportunities in team battles and delivering a fatal blow to the opponent. But now he has chosen to participate in the individual station. This is indeed a bit unexpected. Lulu, what do you think? Zitong threw the question to Lulu. I think this is a psychological warfare. The Yulin University team may not be able to compete with the Yun team in individual battles, but if the Yulin University team can allow Munan to kill two people with extremely low consumption and complete the achievement of 1-on-2, then Munan is very likely to take the risk of choosing 1-on-3 instead of replacing a full state player. At this time, sending a strong melee player may get a point in the individual competition, and we all know that Hei's major is psychology. If Munan can be prevented from making a 1-on-3 in the individual competition, Munan is very likely to have a revenge mentality in the subsequent team competitions. This revenge mentality is very likely to help the Yulin University team easily win the team competition. Lulu can analyze this because she also graduated from a psychology major. If that's the case, then Heiyu is really a terrifying player. We can see that both sides of the game have entered the virtual map, which is the wilderness. The wilderness is a huge plain without any cover, like the previous Forbidden Land of Fire. This is a pure map for hard power. Come on, Deputy Captain, the players of the Yulin team said to Heiyu. Come on, follow the plan. Heiyu picked up his heavy artillery. Because his weapon was too heavy, his movement speed was also slow. On the big screen of the live broadcast of the game, Munan had already rushed towards Heiyu, but Heiyu was just charging his heavy artillery on the spot without moving at all. Why is this? Has Heiyu given up? Zitong said in the commentary booth. No, Heiyu fired a cannon at the ground, and he used the recoil of the cannon to lift himself into the air, while his heavy cannon was still firing at Munan in the air. Munan's health has been reduced to only 50%. On the field, Munan dodged the bombardment while looking at Heiyu in the air. Do you think I can't do anything to you in the air? Munan spun on the spot, and with the help of centrifugal force, he stretched the sickle in his hand and hooked it towards Heiyu. Can you hook it? Lulu shouted from the commentary booth. Hooked it. hooked it. Zitong followed closely and shouted, "Come down!" Munan exerted force and pulled Hai down from the air. Hai fell heavily to the ground, and then Munan directly inserted the sickle into his body. Unbelievable, Munan really accomplished the feat of 1-on-2. Let's congratulate the Yunf team for the second point. Now Munan's health is only 48% left. Can he challenge 1-on-3 directly? Can we see such a feat in the first game of the regular season? Zitong and Lulu's passionate commentary also inspired all the audience at the scene. Since the professional league has just started, each team does not have its own real fans yet, but now all the audience and the whole field are shouting for the Yunf team. Chen looked at the excited audience and shook his head. If this is really Hai's tactics, then this kid is not bad. Zhao, write down his name. Chen expressed great satisfaction. The plan he arranged at the time has begun to bring him surprises. The third game officially began. As expected, the Yunf team still sent out their captain Munan, but this time the Yulin University team also sent out their captain Huatong. Huatong is a player who is very good at individual combat. Not only that, he is also one of the few players in the league who has the ability to fly. His weapon is a heavy-duty propulsion mechanical arm. This weapon is installed on Huatong's two forearms. Unlike other thrusters installed on the feet, his set of mechanical arms also has a propulsion function. If this is the case, then the operation difficulty of this weapon should be very high. Yes, that's right, but it is also because of the flying ability brought to him by the thrusters and the stronger offensive ability brought by the thrusters that helped Huatong reach the 4th place in the peak competition. This time the map is a bit special. This map is the bone-shattering battlefield, and the terrain of this map is more complicated. Zitong is definitely a know-it-all in the competition, and he knows the information about each team in the map by heart. Since the map has become more complicated, the battle will surely be more exciting. The game between the two sides will start soon. Let's wait and see. Captain, give him hope first, then kill him. Hai drank a sip of water and said very calmly, "I know." Huatong stretched his muscles. This map is full of corpses and rubble. Now neither side can see each other. They are moving around the map to find the enemy's position. Munan suddenly stopped. He seemed to want to use static to control dynamics. Munan stopped where he was. He knew that his health was not good now. Huatong's strength was obvious to all. Although he was very confident in himself, he was not sure that he could defeat the opponent at such a low health level. He chose to stop where he was, just to find the opponent's traces first through various factors such as sound. If he wanted to win, he had to attack first. Huatong had rich combat experience in the peak competition. He understood that if Huatong wanted to win, he had to take the initiative. However, with the ability to fly, he actually didn't need to worry about being taken advantage of by the opponent. He only needed to fly in the air to find the opponent's traces. Even if Munan was very sharp, he would only attack at the same time. However, he did not choose to fly, but took the initiative to expose his whereabouts. Although he was the captain, he completely followed the tactical arrangements of his deputy team leader. Huatong's whereabouts were discovered by Munan. Munan took the initiative to attack. Huatong was hooked, and because Huatong's weapon is too long, Huatong is now completely suppressed. Huatong's blood volume dropped too quickly. Huadu now only has 50% of his blood volume, but Huatong has only consumed 20%. Huatong launched a counterattack, pushing forward. His punch hit Munan's face hard, and another punch hit his abdomen. Munan tried to fight back, but at this time the disadvantage of his weapon being too long was highlighted. Once he was suppressed by the opponent in the battle, his weapon being too long would become a disadvantage for his counterattack. Very smart. Munan forcibly withstood the blow and retreated, widening the distance between the two sides. The situation returned to what it was before. Munan regained the upper hand and began to suppress Huatong, but this time, Huatong didn't seem to be so passive. He kept looking for opportunities to fight back. Lulu and Zitong spoke very fast, because the movements of both sides were also very fast and fierce. The distance between the two sides has separated. Huatong still has 4% of his health left, while Munan has 3% left. They seem to be planning to make a decisive attack. Huatong looked at Munan, smiled slightly, and pretended to rush forward. Munan decisively hooked forward, but at this moment, Huatong directly took off into the air through the thrusters, avoiding Munan's key attack. Then, in the shocked eyes of everyone, a mechanical gun barrel emerged from Huatong's mechanical arm. Bang! Munan was shot in the head. Unbelievable. I didn't expect such a dramatic scene to happen. Yes, this is the final victory method that no one expected in this war, but we still want to congratulate the Yulin University team for winning this game. The points between the two sides are 1-2. Munan took off his virtual headgear and clenched his fists tightly. Victory was right in front of him, but he was killed in such a way. This was a humiliation for him. Team competition. Don't even think about winning. Munan punched the table hard. That's right, Hayu's plan was basically the same as Lulu's analysis. This was a psychological warfare. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 Cloud Sky Island. The list of the three-person team competition has been displayed on the display. The Yunfeng team sent their captain, vice-captain and a heavy artillery. The Yulin University team did not send their captain. Two of their three-person team members were defeated in the individual competition. Good guy, Zhao. I can bet with you that the winner of this three-person team competition is still the Yunfeng team, and the MVP is definitely their captain. Mo Chen patted Zhao's little head and said, "My king, I won't bet with you. First, gambling is not a good thing. Second, according to data analysis, the probability of Yunfeng team winning this game is as high as 79%. After Mo Chen's claws left, Zhao quickly stroked her hair. A small bubble was projected above her head. Unhappy, but I won't say it. JPG No. This Hayu is a ruthless person. This third game does not rely on personal strength, but analytical ability. In my opinion, the probability of Yulin University team winning is very high. Mo Chen shook his head. Then why do you still say that the Yunfeng team won? Curious. JPG Before, they had already given Munan a feeling that he was very strong, but they ended his feat of defeating three opponents in a humiliating way in the end. This will give Munan the illusion that I can beat all of you alone and that you guys were just being clever and made me lose before. Now if Munan wins in the three-person team competition again, then this feeling will be even deeper. In this way, when it comes to the six-person team competition, Munan's playing style will definitely be much more extreme, and the Yunfeng team will have more flaws. The Yulin University team is likely to use this to directly turn the tables through the six-person team competition. And the benefits of Hayu's plan are not just good for this game. This is a psychological tactic. In the later games of the regular season, when the Yulin University team meets the Yunfeng team again, Munan will definitely have a revengeful mentality. In this case, it is obvious that the Yunfeng team will inevitably lose another game. When they lose too many times, the spirit of the captain of the Yunfeng team will completely collapse. This guy didn't just win a game, it's that simple. Mo Chen was very happy, and his smile was very gratifying. Although Hayu was only commanding a small team at the moment, his strategy and foresight were enough to prove that this person was a talented general or even a talented commander, and Mo Chen did so much. In addition to wanting to make the army of his civilization stronger, wasn't it because he was eager to get such talents? And this three-person team match was just as Mo Chen expected, and the Yunfeng team won. The task of the Yulin University team in this game was to bypass the enemy's frontline troops to set up guidance instruments in the rear, and escape within 2 minutes after the setting was completed, so that their own firepower could accurately hit the target. The task of the Yunfeng team was to do their best to prevent the Yulin University team from achieving the goal. Each side will lead 20 virtual soldiers to assist in the battle. After several encounters, the Yulin University team was wiped out. The Yunfeng team won the game in 2 points. During the game, it can be seen that Hayu deliberately moved towards dangerous areas several times. In the eyes of Mo Chen, who has rich strategic experience, this is no different from giving away heads. However, Ordinary spectators and players who do not have a deep understanding of strategy naturally cannot find it. Let us congratulate the Yun team for winning another game. It's hard to imagine that in a three-person team competition, the Yulin University team still failed to win after sending out their main brain. This is also a very normal thing. After all, what the Yulin University team needs to do is to go deep into the enemy's rear. In this process, they must face not only the players of the Yun team but also the inspection devices of those NPCs. Hearing the words from the commentary seat, Chen could only sigh that they still did not know much about this game. That's right, the Yulin University team did have to go deep into the enemy's rear, and the opponent they faced was definitely not just the Yun team. However, as long as the Yulin University team did not touch the inspection device and the coordinates were not discovered by the enemy, then the Yun team would never be able to find the location of the Yulin University team. Similarly, they did not know where the final destination of the Yulin University team was. In other words, as long as the Yulin University team is not discovered, the Yun team can only run around like a headless fly. On the contrary, the Yulin University team, although they face many dangers, at least they know where their destination is. If you must compare, the difficulty of the two is not much different. But if this is the case, then the pressure on the Yulin University team facing the six-person team competition will be very great. Yes, now their points on the field are 4-1, and the Yulin University team is already 3 points behind. Then, Zitong, do you think the Yulin University team still has hope of winning? There is definitely hope of winning. Zitong pulled out a data table. In the entire six-person team competition, there will be a total of 6 crystal cores. Plus each team has 6 people, so in theory, in the six-person team competition, the maximum points can reach 11 points, and the lowest is 0. So it is not difficult to make up for the 3-point difference in the six-person team competition. But if this is the case, the tactical arrangements of both sides will be very important. That's right, but the battle lists of both sides have not been listed yet, so we don't know what the situation is yet. We have viewers online asking questions now. What exactly does this substitute player do? Then let me explain to you. Every player who plays in the game has been reported very early, but there are changes in the game process. In the first round of individual competition, they have a change quota, which means that during the game, a substitute player will temporarily replace the previously scheduled main player. The second round of the 3-person team competition is the same, with 1 replacement quota. The third round of the 6-person team competition has 2 replacement quotas. But we should note that there are only 6 main players, that is, on the first battle list submitted to the Alliance. All members who appear in the 3 rounds of competition must be main players. At the same time, after both sides enter the field, the coach can use the substitution quota before each round begins, but can only replace the main players with substitute players. But I think this substitution quota will be used more in the third round of the 6-person team competition, because the map of the third round of the 6-person team competition will be released before the personnel are determined. The coaches of both teams can change their personnel configuration according to the map to achieve the best tactical effect. Of course, this substitution quota can also be used to target the enemy's outstanding players in this game, and to replace the main players who did not perform well in this game. Zitong repeated the role of the substitute players. At the same time, the map of the third round of the game was also confirmed. Yongkong Island. Chapter 36 Yulin. Yongkong Island is a floating island floating in the air. It covers an area of about 16 square kilometers, and the surface is shrouded in clouds and mist. As long as a person lies on the ground, people around him will not be able to find him because of the obstruction of the clouds and mist. There are many stone buildings and groves on this floating island. Due to the complexity of the terrain, a 6-person team competition on this map requires very detailed and meticulous tactical arrangements. Okay, we can see that the Yulin University team has used the quota substitution right. They directly replaced 2 substitutes to play. The Yun team should not have any changes. They still fight according to the main players. Then let's not look at individual strength first. The more important thing in team battles is definitely the coordination problem. Let's take a look at the weapon coordination first. Yulin University team, We already know the captain's weapon before, the assault mechanical arm, and the deputy captain's weapon heavy artillery, which has a strong long-range deterrent. The weapons of the other 4 team members are thorn shield, sniper rifle, two-handed battle axe, and this weapon is a bit special. When I look at it this way, why does it look a bit like light gauze? Zeton was a little confused. He only knew the main players and most of the substitutes of each team. He really didn't know what the weapon of the substitute female player of the Yulin University team was. Although we don't know exactly what this weapon is used for, I'm sure the Yulin University team will tell us the answer. And the weapons chosen by the Yunf team are the captain's sickle, the vice-captain's double swords, as well as the chain hammer, wing blade, round shield turret and heavy Gatling laser cannon. If you look at it this way, the configuration of the Yunf team is a standard positional warfare configuration, with heavy firepower, continuous firepower, and strong meat shields. In comparison, the configuration of the Yulin University team is not that strong. Okay, we can see that both teams have entered the competition venue. The Yunf team landed directly in the building complex, while the Yulin University team landed in the grove, with a distance of 2.5 kilometers between the two sides. Shasha, act according to the plan. I looked at his team, and a petite female player said, "Understood, leave it to me, Vice Captain." Shasha waved her hand and separated from the other 5 members of the team. We can see that Sasha from the Yulin University team has separated from their team. Is this their tactical arrangement? Look what this Sasha is doing. She has wrapped the veil around every corner of the grove. Since her veil has an optical effect, she directly simulated her other team members. She even took the initiative to attack the surroundings, causing explosions. The members of the Yunf team noticed the movements and rushed over. The members of the Yunf team were hiding on one side of the grove for observation. Alas, they were fooled. The Yulin University team they were observing was simulated by Sasha using optics. Moonin launched an attack and hooked over with his sickle. Sasha took the initiative to step forward and was hooked by him, but she immediately used the veil to help herself out of trouble. All the front rows of the Yunf team have begun to advance, and the members of the Yulin University team simulated by Sasha are steadily retreating. The Yunf team is still there. After all, they did not realize that the enemy they were chasing was just an illusion. It appeared. The main players of the Yulin University team finally took action. Hualong directly attacked the Gatling gunner of Team Yunf, and killed him instantly under the cover of Hei's heavy artillery. The player using the round shield turret blocked the opponent's attack with his shield. His round shield has begun to charge and is ready to release the laser cannon, but Huatong appeared behind him and killed him with one shot. The back row firepower of Team Yunf was completely wiped out. Moonin also realized this, but he did not choose to retreat. He knew that the team member Sasha he had hooked before was not an illusion, and he tried to let the front row of his team focus fire on Team Sasha and kill her instantly. Oh my god, incredible! Team Sasha had already set a trap at this position, and a large amount of gauze broke out of the ground and entangled the front row of Team Yunf. Hei's heavy artillery is already charging. Once the members of Team Yunf are bombarded, they are likely to die on the spot. The deputy captain of Team Yunf chose to use his double swords to cut off the gauze on Moonin's body. Moonin successfully escaped. He wanted to help his teammates get rid of the control of the gauze, but it was too late. Hei opened fire. Triple kill, except for the captain of the Yunf team, Moonin. All other members have been killed. After all, it was Moonin's decision that was wrong. Before, they mistakenly thought they had found the traces of the Yulin University team in the grove, but Moonin chose to rush up and start fighting without saying a word. He was too reckless, but now as long as he can escape and get points through the crystal core, he still has a chance. Can he escape? It's difficult. Huatong has already flown into the sky. Moonin can't escape. Unbelievable. Moonin didn't choose to escape. Did he want to fight 6 alone? He took action, and he still attacked Sasha's team member according to his previous decision. Sasha's team member's health is decreasing, but the other members of the Yulin University team have arrived here. Moonin is too impulsive. He is now bearing all the damage from the other 5 members of the Yulin University team, trying to kill Sasha in the second. Sasha's health is reduced to 0, and Munan's health is still 30% left. Munan is still counterattacking, and he hooked AI with his sickle. Oh my god, it's incredible. Does his sickle actually have such a function? Munan threw himself directly through AI, and he flew more than 20 meters away. How many functions of this sickle have that we have not discovered yet? It's incredible. At this distance, he cannot escape under normal circumstances, but because this is Yunkan Island, this means that Munan has successfully escaped. No, there is a gauze trap set by the deceased contestant Sasha at that location, and Munan was controlled again. The thrusters on Huatong's arms began to exert force. Through the impact force from the air to the ground, plus the momentum given by the thrusters, contestant Munan was taken away in one blow, and his health bar was reset to 0. The Yunf team was directly wiped out, and both sides did not try to obtain any crystal cores at all. In this case, the Yulin University team got 6 points and the Yunf team got 1 point. The Yulin University team surpassed the Yunf team by 2 points and won the first regular season game. Let's congratulate the Yulin University team. The whole stadium was filled with applause. Shasha. Yes, that's right, the audience was shouting Shasha's name. The final MVP of this game was also Shasha. Although the real MVP was not Shasha. After all, Shasha's key luring and 2 controls brought the Yulin University team victory. Chapter 37 Level 3 Civilization. The first regular season of the Virtual Combat League ended. In the regular season, each team will have 148 games, which will last for 7 months. After the regular season, there will be a 1-month challenge. After the challenge, all the playoff teams will appear. Then the last month of the playoffs will begin. After the 9-month competition is over, there will be a 3-month off-season. Since the league has just been established and most of the teams are school teams, they have not entered the commercial stage, so there is no such thing as transfer period. Of course, Chen does not intend to commercialize the league. In his expectation, these professional players will join the army after retirement, and the players of a team can also directly form a small team, and they will be sent out to fight in the future. With such a small team as the unit, the event mall has been opened. The system prompt sound suddenly appeared in Chen's mind. It's finally here. Chen excitedly opened the system interface of the dream world. At this time, an event mall has appeared in the space of the dream world. Chen entered the event mall, and there were a total of 126,000 event points on his personal interface. Level 3 technology tree, including all the main technologies of level 3 and below. Exchange points 50,000. This technology tree is the item that Chen wants most in the entire event mall. Although the current Shura Civilization is nominally a level 3 civilization, it does not actually master any of the main technologies of level 3 civilizations. But if this level 3 technology tree is integrated with the technology tree of its own civilization, then Shura Civilization can directly become a top level 3 civilization from a technological perspective. As long as any level 4 civilization blueprint is researched, Shura Civilization can be called a level 4 civilization. In addition, the shadow device can help a fleet of 1,000 battleships hide their tracks. The detection devices of level 4 and below civilizations cannot detect them. It can be exchanged for 5,000 points. Titan-type space combat robot, 200 meters high, with firepower equivalent to a level 4 civilization space battleship, and defense level equivalent to a level 3 frigate, with 20,000 points for exchange. Dark energy-driven weapons, weapon levels 1 to 5. The strength of the weapon is determined by the dark energy in the user's body, with 4,000 points for exchange. Black soul armor, individual defense capability is equal to level 5, with 6,000 points for exchange. Level 3 space battleship, with 2,000 points for exchange. 3rd generation super soldier gene, with 800 points for exchange. Level 3 weapon, with 800 points for exchange. Level 3 supercomputer, with 25,000 points for exchange. Level 4 supercomputer, with 500,000 points for exchange. Dark energy-driven weapons are weapons that use dark energy. The technology of this kind of weapon generally belongs to the branch technology of level 4 civilization. Depending on the intensity of the dark energy input by the user, The combat effectiveness of this weapon will also be different. This weapon can only be used by super soldiers of the 3rd generation or above, but for the 3rd generation super soldiers, all the dark matter energy in their bodies can only drive this weapon to release an attack equivalent to that of a 5th level weapon. Exchange for 3 of these weapons, and the Black Soul armor, after wearing it, can make the user's body defense equivalent to that of a 5th generation super soldier. This can also be exchanged for 3 pieces. Exchange for 2 more Titan-type space robots, so that all the points will be used up. Chen put these things into the system backpack. He planned to get 1 set of 3 sets of weapons and armor for himself and 1 set for Yuri. The last set would be a reward. If one of his generals performed outstandingly, he would give him that set of equipment as a reward. As for the 2 robots, this type of robot belongs to the branch technology of the 3rd level civilization, and the civilization category it belongs to is the technology weapon type, which is different from the single-soldier mechanical type of the Shura Civilization. After the Shura Civilization has completely transitioned to a 3rd level civilization, Chen will let Fate research this branch technology. Chen clicked on the technology tree interface of his own civilization. It was a black space. In the filming space, except for the twinkling lights, there was a golden blue tree. At this time, only 10 fruits were produced on the bottom layer of the tree. These fruits symbolize the main technology that Shura Civilization has unlocked. In addition, there are 4 leaves shining brightly, which represent branch technologies. In Chen's hand, there is also a miniature tree. There are no leaves shining brightly on this tree, but there are 15 fruits. This is the technology tree that Chen exchanged from the event mall. Chen integrated the technology tree in his hand into the technology tree of Shura Civilization. When the 2 technology trees merged, the whole space was shining. In the light, a brand new technology tree was born. Then these lights turned into 15 fruits and 4 leaves on the technology tree. With this, Shura Civilization became a top-level 3rd level civilization. All scientific and technological knowledge also entered the minds of the research members of the institute. The manufacturing time of a level 3 supercomputer is 4 months. The manufacturing time of the 3rd generation super soldier genes and level 3 weapons is also 4 months. And the research time of a level 3 space battleship is 8 months. I now have 132 level 1 resource stars, 63 level 2 resource stars, and 28 level 3 resource stars. The resource output of level 1 resource stars is 50,000 units per year, level 2 resources is 80,000 units per year, and level 3 resource stars is 150,000 units per year. The current Shura Civilization's low-level metal output is 5.04 million units per year, low-level energy output is 3.71 million units per year, low-level stone is 2.24 million units per year, and low-level crystal is 4.85 million units per year. This resource output is completely sufficient for our civilization to produce those space battleships, super soldier genes and weapons at the maximum power. But if there are other branch technology products that need to be produced later, these resource outputs will be completely insufficient. In fact, all the resource stars that can be occupied around have already been occupied. If you want to continue occupying, you will have to go to the small star fields near other civilizations. Chen rubbed his temples. Whether it is any game or the current dream world, the distribution of resource stars between players has always been a headache. If he did not ask for the opinions of those players and directly entered the star field near them to obtain resource stars, then it is very likely to cause conflicts between each other, or even go to war directly. But even if he asked for their opinions, they would not agree in many cases. After all, their civilization also needs to develop. Therefore, the birth of a powerful civilization is bound to be accompanied by countless civilizations that are killed by its farming, and civilizations that are invaded and destroyed by this civilization. Well, no matter what, I'd better add those players as friends and negotiate with them first. Even if we have to fight, we have to use courtesy before a force. Chen opened the chat interface. Chapter 38 Bullying. Chen: hello, can I talk to you about something? Vano: what is it? Chen: there is a Larnos galaxy not far from you. Our civilization wants to go there to occupy a few resource stars. When our civilization is upgraded to a level 5 civilization, we will give those resource stars to you. Larno's galaxy? Vano was stunned. Ordinary players do not have a cosmic map like Chen, so before exploring, they will not know the names of those galaxies, nor do they know which resource stars are in those galaxies. But even if he did not know the Larno's galaxy, he would not easily give up the resource stars in it. After all, he has been in this world for 2 years, and he already knows how important resources are. It is definitely impossible to give it up, but the Shura civilization is too powerful. If we don't give it up, it is very likely to anger them. But, although the players did not know the names of the star fields around them and the distribution of resource stars before exploring, they could find the locations of the players around them. Since he needs to ask me for resource stars, it means that his location is not too far from me. As expected, Vano quickly found the location of the Shura civilization, and the distance between them was as long as 10 light years. 10 light years? Crossing such a long distance to ask for resource stars. No wonder this guy is ranked so far ahead on the power list. But it must not be easy for him to fight me across such a long distance. Vano thought of the 3rd level space battleship and 3rd generation super soldier genes that he had just exchanged from the event mall, and his confidence increased. Vano, I'm sorry, my civilization also needs to develop. If you want, you can only go to war with us. Seeing this, Chen couldn't help but sigh. You really don't want to, Chen. As long as you are willing to give us this galaxy for mining, our civilization can provide you with shelter. Vano, we don't need your shelter. Instead of giving you resources and letting you become strong to protect us, why don't I just make my own civilization strong? Chen, your civilization doesn't need these resources yet. But our civilization is already a level 3 civilization. Give us the resources, and we will definitely protect your civilization to develop steadily. Vano, nonsense, no more words. Even if your civilization is already a level 3 civilization, I can't give you the resource star. After that, Vano never said a word again. Chen actually communicated with all 5 players, but only one of them negotiated smoothly in the end. The other 4 were very clear that the resource star would never be given up, and if they wanted to take it, they would have to go to war. Stupid. This is not a game. Supplying resources to a more powerful civilization in an area in exchange for shelter is the most stable way to develop in this universe full of dangers. Chen shook his head. Well, let's start the war. It's just a pity that if we do this, our civilization's reputation among the players will be ruined. At this moment, another communication came in. Yunfeng, boss, what's going on with you now? The entire Star Domain channel is saying that your Shura civilization is bullying the weak and wants to seize resource stars. Huh? Chen frowned and opened the Star Domain chat channel. Sure enough, the ones who were leading the trend were the players he had sent the communication to before. Chen, don't pay any attention to him. He's just a clown. Yunfeng, but if that happens, the Alliance reputation we have worked so hard to build up will be destroyed. Chen, so what can you do? My civilization needs to develop, so resource stars are definitely needed. And I also said that I can agree to provide them with shelter, but they themselves don't want to. What's more, whoever gets the resource star in the universe first belongs to it. I can't tell them that I am even willing to give them shelter, which is already a great honor. Yunfeng, that's indeed the truth, but those players still apply their previous experience of playing games in the real society here, just like playing Raid of Land emphasizes the main 5 and the main 3. Yunfeng, but it's not that there is no way, you just need to completely defeat their civilization within a month. Chen, 1 month? There are 4 civilizations here. No matter how strong my civilization is, there is no way to divide the troops and defeat them. Yunfeng, I was wrong before. It is enough to defeat only 1 civilization. Chen, that's no problem, but which civilization should be defeated first? Do you have any idea? Yunfeng, the one called Vano is the most aggressive among the 4, and he also has the highest power. As long as his civilization can be defeated within a month, I can make the other 3 civilizations shut up and apologize, and at the same time, they will obediently hand over their resources to you and accept your protection. Mo Chen, then I'll leave it to you. Yun Feng, I'll do it, don't worry. Mo Chen closed the chat channel. Yun Feng had already proved his strength and value with his achievements in alliance building, so he also believed in Yun Feng's plan this time. You gather all the combat troops within the civilization, open the space device regardless of resource and energy consumption, and arrive at the Larnos galaxy within a week. My king, which civilization are we going to go to war with? Yur was a little surprised when she received this sudden order. There is a Rambo civilization near the Larnos galaxy. We need to defeat it within a month. We need to show this big galaxy our true military strength. Yes, my king. Mo Chen nodded. In fact, he didn't care about the Rambo civilization of Vano at all. He only needed to send 2 Titan-class space combat robots to defeat a fleet of 5,000 warships of the Rambo civilization. After all, although the defense of the 2 space combat robots was only that of a 3rd-level space battleship, they were several times more flexible than a 3rd-level space battleship. Although I expected a fight, I didn't expect it to be so noisy, but it's good. If this matter can be resolved smoothly, many wars can be avoided in the future. In the previous life, the first civilization destroyed by other players was destroyed in the 7th year after the game started. If I directly defeated the Rambo civilization, would I unlock another title? Mo Chen fell into deep thought. Chapter 39 Alliance. My king, there are violent space fluctuations in this galaxy. We suspect that an army has come here through a space device. One of Vano's generals pointed to the Larnos galaxy on the map and said, "Oh my god, this guy actually dares to send troops here to die?" Vano said in shock. He didn't expect that Mo Chen would actually send troops here, and come so quickly. Humphrey, he came here across 10 light years without supplies or combat fortresses. What can he use to fight me? But if I can kill the Shura Civilization, which is the #1 player force now, then my reputation among the players will surely increase greatly. Thinking about it, Vano seemed to see his beautiful future life and even laughed out loud. My king, the situation in that galaxy, what should we do? Vano's generals looked at the king who was grinning foolishly on the throne, hesitated for a moment, and then said hesitantly, "Don't worry, the other side has no logistical supplies, and their total combat power will not exceed ours. We just need to hold out against the first wave of the other side's attack, and then they can only be slaughtered by us." After being reminded by his subordinates, Vano came back to his senses and told his subordinates. Yes, after Vano gave his instructions, his men immediately began to prepare for the battle. However, at this moment, in the Larnos galaxy, countless space battleships were coming here through space decoration. After determining the combat target, Mo Chen waved his hand and directly dispatched 60,000 space battleships, 300,000 super soldiers, plus 2 Titan-class space combat robots and 300 void bombs. To be honest, the combat capability of this number of troops, even if the space battleships and super soldiers have not reached the level of level 3, is enough to destroy a weaker level 3 civilization. But in comparison, Vano's Rambo civilization has only 30,000 space battleships and 120,000 super soldiers. Mo Chen said that once his army went into battle head-on, the battle could definitely be resolved within half a month, and he was not bragging at all, because this was an absolute crushing of military strength. The Rambo civilization had no hope of winning. The Rambo civilization's army spent a whole day and finally completed all preparations. Unfortunately, they took too long after all. Just when they were ready to march, the Rambo civilization's outposts around the Larnos galaxy had all been destroyed by the Shura Civilization's army. And less than 7 hours after the Rambo civilization received the information that their outposts had been completely destroyed, Vano's system panel had already prompted that he had a full 3 resource stars, all of which had been occupied. The 3 battle reports that stated the failure of defense made Vano's eyes red. The Larnos galaxy that he and Mo Chen were fighting for had a total of 3 resource stars. Mo Chen, when I defeat your main army, I will definitely destroy your civilization and take all your resources." Vano roared in the palace. In the end, the armies of the two civilizations still exchanged fire on the fourth day. The situation was completely different from what Vano had expected. Chen's Shura Civilization army threw 20 void bombs as soon as they met, destroying more than 1,000 space battleships on the spot. The fleet commander of the Rambo Civilization was stunned. Afterwards, the army with twice the number of warships of the Rambo Civilization directly defeated the opponent. The two titans and the space combat robots showed their power, but the space battleships destroyed by the two of them reached more than 1,400. The battle lasted for 2 days. A total of 13,000 space battleships were destroyed by the Rambo Civilization fleet, while the Shura Civilization only lost 400. When the final battle damage report was transmitted to Vano, he panicked in an instant. "Impossible. This is impossible. They all started at the same time. How could he surpass me by so much?" Vano couldn't believe that his army was beaten like this. He began to send private messages to Chen, and he began to apologize publicly on the World and Large Star Domain channels. But it was useless. The Shura Civilization showed no sign of stopping its attack on the Rambo Civilization. After being completely defeated in the frontal battle, the Rambo army had no idea of resistance at all and was chased by the Shura army all the way. During the pursuit, the Shura Civilization also occupied 14 resource stars. During the pursuit, the Rambo Civilization army immediately began to flee as soon as they saw the Shura Civilization army. There was no resistance at all, so when the Shura Civilization killed all the way to the main star of the Rambo Civilization, the Rambo Civilization lost 8,000 warships while the Shura Civilization lost nothing. Then the most ridiculous thing happened. As soon as the Shura Civilization army arrived at the outskirts of the Rambo Civilization's main star, the Rambo Civilization directly broke out in a mutiny. Vano was pushed to the execution platform by his own people and army. After Vano's death, the newly appointed lord of the Rambo Civilization surrendered to the Shura Civilization without saying a word, and was willing to become a subsidiary civilization of the Shura Civilization. After any player dies, his civilization will become an NPC civilization. Everything Vanuo did turned into a joke. At the same time, a new system prompt sound appeared in Chen's mind. "Congratulations to the player for destroying other player civilizations within 3 years and having an NPC-affiliated civilization, and obtaining the title of Overlord." At the same time, a server-wide announcement also appeared. Rambo Civilization was destroyed by Shura Civilization. This was the first one. "Congratulations to Chen, the master of Shura Civilization, for obtaining the title of Overlord." The game unlocks the Alliance function, and the new event Zulu Universe is about to be launched. As soon as the two announcements came out, the whole server was shocked. While the players were happy about the new functions and activities, they were also sighing at the strength of Shura Civilization. It is almost impossible to destroy another civilization at this stage. The most significant limitation is that the distance is too far, but no one could have imagined that Shura Civilization actually did it. Although as early as a few days ago, when Vanuo publicly admitted his mistake in the chat channel, the players already knew that Vanuo's Rambo Civilization was defeated by Shura Civilization, but they did not expect that Shura Civilization actually destroyed Rambo Civilization. This means that Vanuo, the player, is completely dead. At this point in time, there should be many Saiyans who start to openly scold Chen on the channel. However, due to the unlocking of the Alliance function, although there are indeed 1 or 2 messages on the World channel at this moment, they are quickly overshadowed by countless other messages. Chen clicked on his operation panel and indeed unlocked a new function called Alliance. However, if you want to establish an alliance, you need to obtain an alliance token in the event that will be launched soon. Only those who have an alliance token are eligible to establish an alliance. At this moment, there are a total of 3 titles on Chen's personal panel: the God of Wealth, the Plunderer, and the Overlord. Chapter 40, Fighting for the Universe. To obtain the alliance token, you need to go through an activity called the Universe of Destruction. In this activity, all player civilizations will enter a virtual universe. In this universe, the distance between player civilizations will be greatly reduced. The distance between civilizations is about 10 light years, but now the distance has been reduced to half a light year. Constantly capture other players' civilizations and turn those civilizations into your own subordinate civilizations. Only players who occupy 1,000 player civilizations can obtain bronze level tokens. Players who occupy 10,000 civilizations can obtain silver level tokens. Players who occupy 100,000 civilizations can obtain gold level tokens. Only players who occupy 1 million civilizations can obtain the highest level token, the Wushwang token. The bronze token can create an alliance that accommodates 100 civilizations. With the upgrade, it can eventually reach 300 civilizations. The silver level is also 1,000 civilizations at the beginning and 3,000 civilizations at the end. By analogy, the Wushwang token can create an alliance with an initial 100,000 civilizations and an eventual 300,000 civilizations. In the universe, there are now as many as 9.6 billion player civilizations left, and many of them have been destroyed in the War of Void Invasion. Player civilizations in the alliance can obtain alliance blessings, and their survivability in the war will be greatly increased in the future. Player civilizations that have not joined the alliance will not only find it difficult to protect their resource stars, but may also be affected by the alliance war at any time and be destroyed. In the activities of the Zulu universe, as the number of enemies defeated increases, the marching speed will also increase. For each player civilization captured, the marching speed will increase by 5%. And the scientific research speed and manufacturing speed will increase by 1%. At the same time, after entering this activity, the player's civilizations will no longer develop, but they will unlock all the technologies of the current civilization level. This is of course a good thing for Chen. His civilization is theoretically the only third-level civilization among all the player civilizations, although all the technologies in his third-level civilization have been unlocked. But the fact that other players cannot develop civilizations means that in the event, his opponents are just a group of second-level civilizations. The activities of the Zulu universe will start in one day. After it is activated, there will be no development stage. It will just rely on the current military strength to force a firefight. Only the one who wins the firefight among the surrounding civilizations is eligible for a short development period. The military strength of the Shura Civilization, not counting the Void Bomb Titan class combat robots, is actually only comparable to 3 ordinary player civilizations. According to the current situation, once I enter the active universe, I will inevitably face the situation of being surrounded by the surrounding players. Well, I'll make more plans after I enter the active universe. Now there is not enough intelligence, and it's meaningless to think more. Chen exited the system interface, but at this time he saw the chat file sent by Yunfeng. Yunfeng, boss, I have already given instructions in the Alliance chat channel. As long as they find you, they will actively assist you in the battle. Chen, although the main purpose of this event is to obtain Alliance tokens, you can also exchange points for rewards by capturing other players' points, so I'm afraid they won't really help me. Yunfeng, I know, but at least they are half friends. As long as you are in an advantageous position, they shouldn't have any tricks. Chen, don't worry, Shura Civilization is now a third-level civilization. My advantage will only snowball. As long as we get through the encirclement and suppression phase when we first entered, no one can compete with me. Yunfeng, then boss, be careful. Chen, yes. A day passed in a flash. Soon, the event of fighting for the universe was unlocked. The first time Chen entered the event, he immediately began to check the map around him. There were a total of 5 civilizations around him. 5 civilizations. Well, first come first serve. We must capture one of these 5 civilizations first. Chen frowned and checked the information of these 5 civilizations. The strongest of these 5 civilizations has a power value of 1614, and the weakest has a power value of only 863. After Rambo Civilization became a subsidiary civilization of Shura Civilization, 1/3 of Rambo Civilization's original resource star will be unconditionally handed over to Shura Civilization, so the current power value of Shura Civilization has reached 5,362. The second civilization in the power ranking is only 2,931. Since we have to choose one to capture quickly, let's just kill the strongest of these 5. Once Chen made a decision in his mind, he would implement it immediately. He immediately asked Yura to come over and ordered Yura to lead 20,000 space battleships to fight quickly and decisively. They were loaded with 400 void bombs. Although the overall configuration is not as good as the previous attack on Rambo Civilization, Chen is still confident that Yura's army can quickly conquer the other civilization. But just before the army was sent out, Chen received an email. Gongzhuan Liilai. Boss, they just wanted to drag me to attack you, but I refused. My strength is the weakest among them. Even if I join them in conquering you, I won't get any benefits. Gongzhuan Liilai. So, boss, I can help you fight against them, but when you eat meat in the future, can you also give me a mouthful of soup? Chen looked at these 2 messages and couldn't help but smile. But she is also a smart person. It only makes sense to help me at this time. If she finds that the 2 sides have reached a stalemate before coming to me, I am afraid that the first person I will kill is her. But this guy is quite bold. He dares to take the risk to help me without knowing my strength at all. Chen, okay, but you have to help me at least delay a civilization for a month. Can you do this? Gongzhuan Liilai. No problem. There is another short exchange afterwards, which I won't describe here one by one. After getting the other party's guarantee, Chen's pressure was slightly reduced. After the 20,000 troops left, it was indeed very difficult to fight 4 civilizations with the remaining 25,000 troops. But if they only had to fight 2, then Chen was even sure that he could defeat them directly. As the supreme commander of the guards of the Shura Civilization, I appoint you as the commander-in-chief of this defensive war. You will lead 25,000 space battleships to destroy all the troops that came from 2 directions to attack the Shura Civilization. Previously, Himo's mission had always been to fight a defensive war, but this time, Chen planned to let him fight a counterattack. A general who wants to break through himself needs the pressure of war. Since the memories experienced in this activity will be retained, Chen will let a general who has never fought a defensive counterattack to try this in such an important battle. It is better to suffer losses here than to suffer losses on the real battlefield in the future. Chapter 41, Start Expansion Mode. Under Chen's command, the Shura Civilization entered a state of preparation for a 3-front war. The 20,000-man attacking corps led by Yura had engaged in a battle with the strongest of the several civilizations 10 days ago. Although they won, it was not a crushing victory, and the other side was still resisting. For a while, Yura's army had no way to directly capture the other side. On the other hand, one of the 2 guard corps led by Himo had already resisted an attack. The other side sent a total of 12,000 space battleships, the same number as the guards. With the leading equipment, the guards have successfully gained the initiative, and Gongzhuan Liilai also led her civilization army to block another civilization as agreed. The 2 civilizations fought evenly, and neither could do anything to the other. Although it seems that the situation is good, it only takes a certain amount of time for the Shura Civilization to successfully incorporate all 5 surrounding civilizations. But the real situation is not so. No one can guarantee that there are other civilizations in places farther away from the 5 civilizations who have ideas about the Shura Civilization. In other words, if the Shura Civilization does not resolve the battle immediately, it may face attacks from more civilizations at any time. The manufacturing cycle of the 3rd-level space battleship takes 3 months even with the acceleration symbol. At present, the first batch of 1,000 3rd-level space battleships will take more than a month to be produced. Therefore, Chen was in trouble for a while. However, Chen was not panicked. He believed that Yura would definitely be able to think of a way to quickly resolve her opponent. Sure enough, 5 days later, Yura sent the news of victory in the war. In an offensive battle, Yura pretended to retreat and lured the enemy deep. In the end, the main force of the opponent was wiped out at a very low cost. In other words, in no more than 3 days, Yura's army could capture this civilization. At this point, Chen's pressure completely disappeared, and the other two civilizations, after learning that the most powerful civilization on their side had retreated, the attack style became more fierce. However, Himo also burst out his talent. Taking advantage of the short pause after the opponent's continuous attack failed, Himo launched a counterattack. This counterattack successfully wiped out all the enemy troops in one defensive battlefield. The enemy troops in another battlefield retreated directly after learning the news. Thus, the war in the early stage of the activity ended. With the help of Gong Zhuanlailai, Chen became the winner of this war. After the war ended, Chen conquered all the other 4 civilizations in just 15 days. Among them, the civilization that Gong Zhuanlailai had been fighting against was given to Gong Zhuanlailai as a reward by Chen. After obtaining 3 wealthy civilizations, the marching speed of the Shura Civilization was also increased by 15%, and the construction and scientific research speed was also increased by 3%. However, Chen did not stop his expansion. He quickly sent troops to build fortresses on the edge of each affiliated civilization. At the same time, he was constantly occupying resource stars and expanding the manufacturing scale of super soldier genes, weapons and space battleships. The construction of the fortress took a month, but during this month, the first batch of 3rd-level space battleships and the second batch of 3rd-generation super soldier genes and weapons had been fully researched. After Chen incorporated this batch of level 3 space battleships into the army, he immediately issued a combat order. He planned to divide the 50,000 space battleships he currently had, in addition to the level 3 space battleships. A batch of new level 2 space battleships and level 1 space battleships were also built before, into 3 armies, of which 10,000 were responsible for guarding the main star and the affiliated civilizations. The other 2 armies were each equipped with 20,000 space battleships, and these 2 armies would be led by Yura and Himo respectively. While other civilizations were still in the early stages of the melee, they would be occupied in one go. Dawn. Hey, man, I think we should stop fighting. In a European-style castle, a king dressed in gold and silver embraced several beauties on his left and right. Although this was the case, his mind was on the system's chat channel. Shimakawa Nobuta. Oh, why? Your army just surrounded me yesterday, causing me to lose more than 1,000 space battleships, and today you told me that you plan to cease fire. Dawn. My intelligence army discovered that a fortress appeared not far from our 2 civilizations. According to speculation, it should be the fortress of the Shura Civilization, which is currently ranked first in the power rankings, and they found that an army has been dispatched from that fortress. Shimakawa Nobuta. Humphrey, who knows if what you said is true? The joint attack of 4 civilizations will not be able to contend with it even if it is ranked first in the power rankings. Dawn. I didn't lie to you. After my exploration army discovered the fortress, I sent them to the Huoyan Civilization to investigate. Dawn. After their investigation, I could see the latest status of the Huoyan Civilization through the system, and what I saw was that under the name of their civilization there was a Shura Civilization logo, and the Huoyan Civilization had been occupied. Shimakawa Nobuta. So, you want to join forces with me to fight against the Shura Civilization's army? Dawn. It can only be this way, otherwise, neither of our 2 civilizations can resist the attack of the Shura Civilization. Shimakawa Nobuta. I still can't trust you completely, but I can send an exploration army to borrow the passage of your civilization to find the Shura Civilization's army. Only when I find it will I really agree to form an alliance with you. Dawn. You are really smart in your calculations. If you don't agree, it means I am deceiving you. If I agree, you can not only find the Shura Civilization's warships, but also observe the layout of the combat fortresses inside my civilization. Shimakawa Nobuta. You should just say it directly. Do you agree or not? Dawn felt as if he had seen the smug smile on Shimakawa Nobuta's face. An unknown fire rose in his heart. After he replied with a yes, he vented his anger on the woman beside him. For a moment, the entire castle hall became unbearable to look at. The specific scene is hard to describe. The civilizations of Shimakawa Nobuta and Dawn are of similar strength, with influence values around 1,200. The one responsible for attacking these two civilizations is Shura, who had just completed the interstellar invasion war not long ago. In her army, the advanced force configuration has a total of 2,000 third-generation super soldiers and 500 third-level space battleships, 200 void bombs and a Titan-class space combat robot. Although the army's idea is to let this army take advantage of the weakening of other civilizations after continuous confrontation and completely kill them. But in fact, with the configuration of this army, even if it directly challenges the coalition forces of these two civilizations in their prime, it is not inferior. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42 Stupid Plot. Bang! You were kicked on an energy shield, and then retreated with the help of the reaction force. After being upgraded to a third-generation super soldier, she began to train day and night to adapt herself to her current body. The dark energy weapon Chen gave her was a slender silver blade. Shura could skillfully control complex weapons like the 8-sided jade ling, so she could naturally use the silver blade easily. But now she can't control the distribution of dark energy to drive the silver blade. The teaching course on dark energy was only started by Chen a year ago. Although she has studied for a year, there are still some problems in actual operation. In addition to the black soul armor and dark energy-driven weapons given by Chen, as well as the 8-sided jade ling that has been upgraded to a third-level weapon, Shura is now equipped with the latest second-level nanomech developed by the Research Institute, as well as a pseudo-first-level supercomputer driven by dark energy. The pseudo-first-level supercomputer already has most of the functions of a first-level supercomputer, and the energy consumption is slightly smaller than that of a first-level supercomputer. But it can already greatly improve Shura's combat ability. At present, Chen is the only one in the entire Shura civilization who has the same configuration as Shura. The single-soldier mechanical civilization development mode may be weaker than the other two development modes in the early stage, but once the civilization enters the divine body stage, that is, above the 6th level of civilization, the horror of the single-soldier mechanical type will really begin to manifest. Each divine body has the ability to fight against space battleships of the same level alone. If this body is also equipped with dozens of auxiliary mechanical weapons, then the only weakness of the divine body compared to the space battleship in terms of firepower will be completely solved. In fact, due to its high mobility, the divine body will be completely stronger than the space battleship. This is also the reason why Chen chose the single-soldier mechanical type. After all, he now has absolutely enough resources. When his civilization enters the 6th level of civilization, I am afraid he has already possessed hundreds of branch technologies. It is simply unimaginable to what level these single-soldier mechanical branch technologies can strengthen a divine body. Now, the benefits of this development mode have begun to show initially. Even if Shura's current combat power does not count the black soul armor and dark energy-driven weapons given to her by Chen, she can fight against 5 third-generation super soldiers on her own. Since the research on Gundam robots is still at the research level of the first-level civilization, Shura's current combat power is equivalent to the individual combat ceiling of the Shura civilization. The research on Gundam robots is now facing difficulties. Although there is the cutting-edge technology of Titan-class combat robots in front, however, the cost of manufacturing is too expensive. Even the Shura civilization is somewhat difficult to cope with. After all, it already requires primary resources at the first level. Before entering the divine body stage, this kind of robot can still fight in the universe. The characteristics of combat are still very excellent. However, once it enters the divine body civilization above the 6th level, its expensive cost and combat power that cannot match its cost will make this branch technology completely lose its development potential. On the contrary, nanomeshs are much more cost-effective, but unfortunately, Nanomeshs do not allow super soldiers to fight in the universe. This is the disadvantage of the early development of single-soldier mechanical development. Individual combat capabilities are not as good as the body evolution type, that is, biological mutation, and cosmic combat capabilities are not as good as the technological weapon type. Of course, in this case, the benefits of Chen's grip on gold are reflected. He has purchased more than 200 branch technology drawings of cross-civilization development methods in the limited time mall. It's just that I don't have the energy to study those branch technologies at present. At this time, 5 days have passed since Shura's fleet left the fortress. According to the intelligence obtained by Shura Civilization, there are a total of 3 civilizations in the direction of Shura's fleet. These 3 civilizations broke out in a war not long ago, and 2 of them joined forces to destroy one civilization. But it seems that due to the uneven distribution of which civilization in the end, the 2 civilizations started fighting each other again. The strength of the 2 civilizations has been greatly weakened, so Chen sent Shura to fight. General, other warships have been found in front of us. Judging from the detection signals of the enemy's warships, they do not belong to the same civilization as the one that detected our fortress not long ago. An officer on the warship ran to the training room to report the situation to Shura. At this time, Shura's clothes were tightly attached to her body due to the high-intensity training, making her perfect figure visible at a glance. It's just a pity that because Shura wore a nanomech during the training, the officer might not be able to feast his eyes. I know. After the officer left, Shura disarmed the nanomech. The people who trained with her in the training room were all Chen's former maids, so she naturally didn't need to be too vigilant. Shura had always indulged those detection warships. The military strength of the 2 civilizations was already fully understood by the Shura Civilization. After all, Chen's detection technology was much stronger than theirs. So now Shura was eager for them to gather all the armies together. It was just right to catch them all in one fell swoop, and it would save trouble. But compared to Shura's indifference, Shimakawa Nobuta, who learned that it was indeed the army of the Shura Civilization, was panicked. Although he did send warships to gather intelligence, he did not really think that the Shura Civilization would win. He always believed that although the Shura Civilization was the first civilization in the power ranking, it definitely did not have the power to resist the joint attack of the 4 civilizations. He thought Dawn was just trying to play some tricks, and sending detection warships was just to turn the tables and explore the distribution of military forces within Dawn's civilization. Unexpectedly, he really saw the fleet of the Shura Civilization. Dawn saw the troop information detected by his frontier detection warship through the system panel. Civilization, Shura Civilization. Number of troops, unknown. Estimated strength, unknown. Marching target, unknown except for the first piece of information which was given by the system. The other 3 pieces of information needed to be investigated by the civilization's detection troops. But Shimakawa Nobuta's detection troops obviously did not have that capability. Baka. This is impossible. The Shura Civilization actually defeated the joint attack of 4 civilizations. After thinking it over, Shimakawa Nobuta sent a message to Dawn. Shimakawa Nobuta, I agree to join forces with you. We can solve the problems between us after we defeat the army of Shura Civilization. Dawn, of course, this is my goal. But you didn't want to believe it before. Shimakawa Nobuta, even if they have the strength to defeat the joint attack of the 4 civilizations, they will surely suffer heavy losses. It is impossible for our 2 civilizations to fail, but the opponent's fleet is obviously closer to your civilization. Shimakawa Nobuta, if we want to join forces, my army will definitely enter the scope of your civilization. Dawn, don't think I don't know what you think. The army of my civilization will resist them outside my sphere of influence. Your army only needs to go there to encircle and suppress them. Seeing Dawn's reply, Shimakawa Nobuta showed a smug smile on his face. In his opinion, even if Shura Civilization can resist the joint attack of the 4 civilizations, its current strength must have been greatly damaged. Even if the strength of the army may be stronger than any of their 2 civilizations, but it definitely won't reach the point of crushing. Let Dawn's civilization consume more time, and then he can reap the harvest. In this way, the strength of Dawn's civilization will be greatly damaged, and he can smoothly capture Dawn's civilization. The army of Shura Civilization has been surrounded by him and Dawn, and Shura Civilization has no ability to attack him again. In this way, he can get a period of development and peace and stability. Shimakawa Nobuta seems to have seen the victory that will come soon. I saw that many people disagreed with the way of civilization development I chose, so I explained it in detail in this chapter. Chapter 43 Nagusa returns. General, these two civilizations have not formed a coalition to fight against us. An officer was reporting the current situation to Yura. According to our intelligence unit, the other party's plan is to have one civilization close to us resist, and the other civilization will attack us from behind. Has our detection team been discovered by them? Yura raised her question. Our troops' detection level is better than theirs. When our troops withdrew, they had already detected all of the other party's arrangements. If the other party discovered us, it would be impossible for them not to attack, the officer said hurriedly. If that's the case, Yura frowned and opened the universe map from the main control surface of the operations room. The location where they are currently deployed is too far away from their home planet. If we directly avoid this civilization, we will attack another civilization. The speed of the warships of these two civilizations is simply not comparable to ours, Yura said to the officers and adjutants present in the operations room. So you mean that we should directly avoid this civilization in front of us and attack another civilization that lacks defense forces? An officer said. That's right. Yura pointed out several places on the star map. The enemy is trying to intercept our offensive at this location, and the army of another civilization is trying to invade us from our side. According to intelligence, the military strength deployed in these two places has basically reached 80% of the two civilizations. It is very easy for us to capture a civilization that only has 20% of our own strength. The most important thing is that after the capture is successful, the 80% army will not attack us. We can directly capture a civilization with almost zero loss, and then let the army of this civilization fight for us. If so, we don't need to pay any price to take these two civilizations into our pockets. Yura said this extremely simple plan, but all the foundations of this plan are based on the technology of Shura Civilization, which is far superior to the other two civilizations. Do you have any objections? Yura looked around at the officers in the war room. After seeing that no one spoke, Yura confirmed the battle plan this time. Compared with Yura's smooth sailing, Himo's side was much more difficult. Just when Himo's army was about to arrive at that battlefield, the three civilizations fighting there actually ended the war. One of the civilizations used some unknown means to kill the other two civilizations. Himo had no choice but to start a war with this civilization with two subordinate civilizations. In this case, Chen could only send Jiba to lead 5,000 space battleships to help. Although Chen originally did not intend to send troops to assist Himo, after all, he still hoped that Himo could gain experience and grow through this activity. But after thinking about it, since it is now a very important expansion stage that can surpass other civilizations at once, so he still sent troops to assist. After all, compared with training Himo, obtaining the highest level of alliance tokens is the most important thing. The later it is, the fewer civilizations can be captured. Once a civilization is defeated by another civilization, it will become a subordinate civilization. However, the subordinate civilizations owned by this civilization itself will not be recorded in the capture record of another civilization. Even these subordinate civilizations will disappear directly from the active universe and will not become subordinate civilizations of the next civilization. Therefore, if you do not step up the plan to invade civilizations in the early stage, it will become more and more difficult to obtain alliance tokens later. Apart from other things, according to the statistics of the activity interface, the number of civilizations that have not become subordinate civilizations is only 40%. If it were not for the current military strength, Chen would even plan to start a war on 3 fronts. It's a pity that the bonus of conquering civilizations cannot be applied to real civilizations. In addition to the activities these days, Chen has been busy with Zhao's promotion to a level 3 supercomputer. In the past few days, because Zhao has entered the final stage of the upgrade, There is naturally no extra computing power to control the various intelligence of the civilization, so Chen can only use a level 1 supercomputer to barely make up. But there are still problems everywhere. So in addition to the activity universe these days, he is also very busy in the real universe. However, in addition to these things these days, the most important thing is naturally Nagusa's return. This woman wanted to report the information of these void demons to Morgana when the void invaded before. As a result, because she had too much fun beforehand, she had not contacted Morgana, which led to the sudden loss of Morgana's signal. In a hurry, she left the Shura Civilization and planned to return to the Azure Galaxy to find Morgana. As a result, she found that only a piece of wreckage was left in the Azure Galaxy. The Demon Civilization was defeated in the war with the Angel Civilization, and finally Nagusa found a signal left by Morgana. She knew that the Demon Civilization had gone to the Chiwu star system in the Milky Way, so she ran to the Chiwu star system to find Morgana. During this period, she was attacked by the Angel Civilization several times. After all, the Azure Galaxy was the galaxy where the Demon Civilization stayed before, and the Angel Civilization must have left spies there. After going through untold hardships to escape the pursuit of the Angel Civilization, she came to the Chiwu star system. After reporting the intelligence, in order to avoid the investigation of the Angel Civilization, she went around for a long time, so it took more than a year to return to the Shura Civilization. However, when she saw the Shura Civilization at this moment, she was stunned. She didn't expect that the Shura Civilization, which didn't have a level 3 supercomputer a year ago, now has the technology of a level 4 supercomputer. And the level 3 supercomputer is still in the manufacturing process. They are actually able to produce level 3 space battleships and 3rd generation super soldier genes, as well as level 3 weapons. Each level of civilization can unlock all the main technologies through 250 civilization blueprints, and these main technologies include the research of higher level supercomputers. Therefore, Chen now has the technology of a level 4 supercomputer, but it has not been manufactured yet. Once it is manufactured and the first level 4 civilization blueprint is researched, the Shura Civilization can be called a level 4 cosmic civilization. Nagusa couldn't help but sigh that the development of Shura Civilization is too fast. It only takes more than a year to develop from a level 2 civilization to a level 4 civilization. How did you do it? Nagusa couldn't help but ask Chen. Secret. Chen just smiled at Nagusa. This made Nagusa quite unhappy, but there was nothing she could do. After all, the Demon Civilization did not have the ability to invade the minds of other life forms like the Angel Civilization. With a cold snort, Nagusa left the palace of Shura Civilization. The previous incident suddenly interrupted her play trip, and now of course she had to continue this matter with the Void Demon. Anyway, Shura Civilization has solved it by itself, although Morgana attaches great importance to this Void Demon. But after all, there are taller people to hold up the sky when it falls. Nagusa said that it has nothing to do with her for the time being anyway. Chapter 44 Devil Coach. Since the resources of every civilization in the active universe are unlimited, therefore, if the Shura Civilization wants to continuously expand its armaments, it does not need to worry about the resource problem at all. The only limitation is the scale of manufacturing. Therefore, the Shura Civilization today is equivalent to developing and expanding at the same time. Of course, there are not many player civilizations that can take both into account at the same time. After all, not every player will train their civilization residents to have militarized ideas in advance, and not every civilization has such a large manufacturing scale like the Shura Civilization. If many civilizations want to expand, they will not be able to take into account the issue of strengthening their own military strength. Your strategy was very successful. It took only 10 days to capture the two civilizations, and only lost less than 500 warships. But the situation at Himo's place was more serious. Although the opponent was defeated and the dawn of victory was imminent, 3,000 space battleships had been damaged. On the other side, Renault, who took over the defense work of Jiba, and another General Yunuo deployed the defense work perfectly. Although the two Nuo are nearly 20 years apart in age, they work very well together. The development of Shura Civilization has been going smoothly so far, which has left Chen with nothing to do these days. He has to take some time every day to watch the live broadcast of the Virtual Combat League. Occasionally, Chen will play 2 rounds of Virtual Combat games himself, and he has even reached the highest level. Because he has always maintained a record of undefeated, 1 or 2 teams run by private enterprises have even sent him a trial invitation. On the other hand, after learning about this game, Nagusa also registered an account with great interest. However, this new internet addict girl, old woman, is not as conservative as Chen. Not only has she reached the current highest level, she has also directly won the first place in the peak competition. The most outrageous thing recently is that this guy actually wants to play professionally. After learning that the quota for the royal team has not been confirmed, she came to the palace through a space shuttle. As soon as she came up, she said, "I want to play professionally, you can do it." This made Chen stunned for a long time. What the hell? A 1,000-year-old demon came to me and said he wanted to play professionally. Of course, it was impossible to say this directly. You want to play in the Virtual Combat League? Chen couldn't help but confirm it again. Yes, that. Doesn't your royal family have a royal team? I heard that it's not full yet, so I'll join this team. Nagusa fixed a chair, crossed her legs and sat on it without saying a word. No. Chen shook his head. Why? Nagusa jumped up from the chair. Have you seen the requirements for league players? Chen stroked his forehead. What are the requirements? The age must be under 30 years old. I wonder how old this demon lady is this year? Do you think I'm old? Nagusa's eyes revealed danger. Of course not, beautiful demon lady. The age range of your civilization cannot be compared with ours. But our rule is that those under 30 years old cannot participate. Although you are the protector of our civilization, we still hope that you can abide by the rules of our civilization. So, you are so powerful and have such rich combat experience. Playing in such a league is also a devaluation behavior, and it will also destroy the balance of the league. But, Chen had a good idea in his mind. You can be a coach. You can be the coach of our royal team. Being a professional coach is equivalent to playing professionally, and it will not destroy the balance of our current league. Chen has always hoped that there would be someone who could help him train a group of high-level combat forces. Although Chen can also teach, it is a bit of a loss for a king. If Nagusa can be a coach, Chen would naturally be very happy. Be a coach. Nagusa fell into thought. Then can I play in the game? She suddenly looked up. That's not possible. A coach is a coach. He knows those professional players. Chen shook his head. You just don't want me to play in the game. For a balance, that's true. Nagusa stared at Chen for a long time. Okay, coach is coach. Anyway, we're just going to have some fun. Nagusa stood up from her seat. Why don't you take me to the training room of your royal team? No problem. Chen was very happy, and so was Nagusa. Although Nagusa was tricked, it was a win-win situation. Chen certainly didn't think that Nagusa didn't know what he was thinking, but he also knew that she wouldn't refuse. The royal team was located in the palace, and the members were selected from the guards, maids, guards, and the children of generals and officials. Even so, this place has always been dominated by military style. People like Nagusa looked out of place as soon as they came in. My king. Everyone saluted after seeing Chen. Chen waved his hand. Everyone, this is Nagusa, an envoy of a higher-level civilization. She has rich combat experience. Now I invite her to be the coach of our royal team. She will be responsible for your training. If you have any combat problems in the future, you can ask her. Yes. After Chen gave all his instructions, he nodded to Nagusa and left directly. Of course, he believed that Nagusa could handle everything and he didn't need to do anything more for her. On the other side, after taking over the coaching position, Nagusa didn't do much else. She first opened the virtual game and played a solo game with every member from the main to the substitute. The weapons she chose were 2 short blades, which were also her own weapons. Although in the virtual league, the strength of each player can only be exerted to the level of the second-generation super warrior. But Nagusa's rich experience allowed her to complete a 1-on-1 18. She didn't perform any recovery throughout the whole process. That is, those blood points and those energy points. More than 12 of these 18 people were directly headshot by her and killed in one shot. After defeating 18 people, her own health was still full and her energy was only consumed by 20%. This show of strength directly convinced all the members, at least in singles, she is fully qualified to be the coach. But soon, Nagusa started a 1v6 team match again. A total of 9 games were played, 9 maps, and 18 people were divided into 3 groups to take turns. In the end, Nagusa won all 9 games, and she won every game by destroying the opponent. So far, Nagusa has the absolute authority of the royal team. In addition, she also got a nickname, the Devil Coach. Chapter 45. Awoyi, Yunfeng, boss, you have to be careful. Mo Chen, what's wrong? What happened? Yunfeng, the civilizations you conquered posted your military strength on the world channel. Mo Chen, don't worry too much. When I conquered those civilizations, I didn't send all my troops. They don't have a comprehensive understanding of my strength. Yunfeng, no. Go and read an article on the game forum that specifically discusses your military strength. Mo Chen opened the game forum as Yunfeng said, and as expected, he immediately saw a pinned article on the strength of the current first civilization posted by Luoyi. It's him. Mo Chen frowned. Luoyi is a very famous player on the game forum, because this person has posted a lot of articles on the forum. The explanations of various activities and civilizations in these articles are very detailed and accurate. In the later camp war of attacking and defending the solar system, he served as the commander-in-chief of the Third Army of the coalition forces that invaded the solar system. The first army that successfully broke through the guarding coalition and entered the solar system was the Third Army. Although Mo Chen was mainly fighting against the Fourth Legion at that time, he also knew how terrible this person's strategy was. Mo Chen clicked on the article. Everyone, many days have passed since the launch of the event Chasing the Universe. Many players have been eliminated in this event, but many players have also stood out in this event. Today I want to talk about the most outstanding one among them, the Shura Civilization, which is currently ranked first in the power list. We all know that Mo Chen, the civilization lord of my civilization, is the only VIP 10 player in the entire server. It was he who won the first title of the Shinhao in the entire server, and gave each of us a chance to recharge 10,000 yuan. Then he won the title of Plunderer and opened the martial arts performance function, so that we can now participate in the ranking competition, singles competition and system martial arts performance. The event we are currently conducting was also started because he won the title of Overlord and unlocked the alliance function. We all know that he is the first player in the entire server to conquer another player's civilization, so many people are curious about his strength. Now, based on the information I have sorted out on the world channel, I think I can roughly analyze the strength of the Shura Civilization. At the beginning of the event, the Shura Civilization encountered a joint attack from 4 civilizations, but the Shura Civilization also found an ally, and that ally helped him resist one of the civilizations. In other words, as soon as the Shura Civilization entered the activity, it started a war of 1 against 3. But the Shura Civilization seemed to have anticipated this. It had sent an army to the most powerful of the 3 civilizations to fight against it, and for the attacks of the other 2 civilizations, it sent troops to fight a defensive counterattack. In the end, the most powerful of the 3 civilizations was directly conquered by his army, and almost crushed. But he was also not weak in the other defensive battlefields, and finally defeated the 2 civilizations with a beautiful defensive counterattack. According to the information I sorted out, the number of space battleships sent by the Shura Civilization to attack was about 20,000 to 23,000, and the total number of troops deployed in the defensive battlefield should be about 25,000 space battleships. In other words, at this stage when it just entered the activity, the Shura Civilization already had the strength of at least 45,000 space battleships. After that, the Shura Civilization almost did not rest for a long time, and immediately opened the invasion mode. Now 2 civilizations have been defeated by one of the Shura Civilization's armies. Each of these 2 civilizations has about 13,000 space battleships. In this war, the Shura Civilization chose a tricky way. They took advantage of the weak defense of one of the civilizations and directly captured one civilization first, and then used the army of the captured civilization to attack the other civilization, while their own army was in the rear. According to my analysis, the number of troops in this army is about 18,000 to 22,000. In another battlefield that has not yet been decided, the Shura Civilization should have invested 20,000 space battleships at first, but later reinforced a group of about 5,000 space battleships. Let's assume that the Shura Civilization still left 10,000 space battleships to guard the home. So now, the Shura Civilization's army should be 55,000. The time between these two different wartime points is about 20 days, that is, in 20 days, after obtaining a 3% construction speed bonus, the Shura Civilization can produce 10,000 space battleships, and this does not count the battleships destroyed in the previous war. At the same time, according to the situation of the war between the two civilizations in the Second War, the Shura Civilization should have a large number of third-level space battleships. In other words, the current Shura Civilization not only has a very large production scale, but it is also very likely to be a third-level civilization. Chen looked at the article sent by Luo Yi and couldn't help but have a headache. He is really the same as in his previous life, still so evil, and he actually guessed 9 out of 10. Chen, Yunfeng, have you tried to win over Luo Yi? Yunfeng, I tried, but this person is very strange. He didn't agree or refuse, but I think he refused because he said that following you is not challenging. No challenge? Chen took a deep breath. Sure enough, due to the lack of intelligence, even such an evil person thinks that the dream world is just a war between players. Chen, forget it. If that's the case, don't try again. Chen certainly didn't want to give up, but he also knew that such a monstrous person must have his own stubbornness. Even if he told the other party the horror he might face in the future, the other party might not believe it. Only when the game gradually deepens, various hidden information continues to appear, and he draws this conclusion through his own analysis. Chen has hope of recruiting this person. Chen doesn't think that he will definitely have the ability to fight against the Death God civilization or even the Void in the end just by charging that money. After all, in the last few activities in his previous life, there were no level 10 technology trees and level 9 technology trees. Even if he continues to develop through VIP acceleration cards, he can only reach level 9 civilization at most in the end. He needs the help of the talents he met in his previous life. He even hopes that in the end he can influence all the players and make them choose to protect the solar system. But even this is still not enough, unless get more titles and unlock more functions. Chapter 46 Stellar Drive Device. Luo Yi's article has been pinned to the top of the game forum. If so, it is certain that Chen is not the only one who has seen it. Is this Shura Civilization so terrifying? A young man in an imperial robe was shocked when he saw Luo Yi's article. His name is Mu, the master of Yunmu Civilization. In the current active universe, his civilization is only 4 light years away from Shura Civilization. He is not a simple little character. He ranks 176th on the power list and has successfully conquered 3 civilizations since entering the active universe. Although these 3 civilizations were not conquered by him head-on, they are enough to show his ability. I thought the difference was not that big, but I didn't expect the gap to be so big. Mu couldn't help but sigh. However, even if you can beat 3 civilizations, what if there are 5, 6 or even 7 civilizations attacking at the same time? Mu looked at the civilizations around him and fell into deep thought. On the other hand, Chen naturally couldn't know Mu's plan. Chen didn't recognize this person. In his previous life, there was no such top-player civilization called Yunmu Civilization. However, Chen began to prepare. After all, Luo Yi's article had been published, and the civilizations around him must have been ready for battle. It is even possible that they have planned to form an alliance to attack him. Mu's guess was correct. The Shura Civilization did not have the ability to resist a large number of civilizations for the time being. And because this is an active universe, Even strategic transfers are impossible. So Chen must also find his own allies among the surrounding civilizations. From ancient times to the present, when a small country faces a big country, and a single country faces several countries, the tactics used are all vertical and horizontal alliances. Under the huge benefits promised by Chen, there are indeed 4 or 5 civilizations that agreed to form an alliance with him, but these civilizations are very weak. Rather than saying that these civilizations are coming to join forces with the Shura Civilization to resist the powerful enemy, it is better to say that these civilizations are coming to seek protection from the Shura Civilization. But civilizations with a little strength are not willing to join forces with the Shura Civilization. It is indeed embarrassing for Chen to be unable to find a reliable ally. It was at this time that Mo's army finally succeeded in defeating that civilization. The Shura Civilization had 6 subordinate civilizations, and its marching speed increased by 30%, and its construction and scientific research speed increased by 6%. This allowed Chen to fully prepare for the war that would come soon. Zhao, who had upgraded to a level 3 supercomputer, gave Chen a great help. With the support of her supercomputing power, the production speed of the Shura Civilization increased further. However, just 10 days later, another article appeared on the game forum. The Demon Slayer Alliance established and swears to become a coalition. The general meaning of this article is that there is a civilization called NPC Civilization, which has summoned 23 civilizations to form a coalition and intends to launch an attack on the Shura Civilization. These 23 civilizations are all powerful civilizations that have successfully conquered other civilizations. The most, like the NPC Civilization, have successfully conquered 3 civilizations. Unlike Chen's calmness, although Yunfeng is also a very capable person, he still has little experience after all, and he was a little anxious for a while. Yunfeng, boss, you have a serious problem now. 24 civilizations are attacking you together. Have you found any allies? Chen, I found a few weaker civilizations, but don't worry, I'm still confident. These civilizations came together to attack him, and their purpose was generally for profit, as long as he could resist the attack and delay for half a month, so that the leaders of those civilizations felt that their expansion rhythm had been disrupted. Then the alliance would naturally fall without a fight. Chen even had the hope of inciting 1 or 2 of them to rebel. Let their civilizations help him attack the alliance in turn. These civilizations are basically distributed around the NPC Civilization as the core. The nearest one is 2.7 light years away from me, and the farthest one is 5.2 light years away. If they come in batches, then there is nothing to be afraid of. I can eat them all in batches, and the fastest civilization among them will only need about a month to get here. But if they come here as a coalition, then we have to consider the distance of the farthest civilization among them. It will take about 2 months for the army of that civilization to get here. A total of 15 days have passed since the article was published. These 15 days are enough time for their coalition forces to assemble, and their alliance could not have been completed on the same day. If normal, their army should have set out 5 days ago, and it was only posted on the forum today. Chen began to analyze the situations he could currently infer through his past life's experience. In 1 month, my second batch of warships will be completed. 60,000 warships, including 8,000 third-level space battleships, and 15,000 Gundam robots. As long as the total number of troops sent by the other side does not exceed 400,000, we can definitely hold them off for half a month. But we have to start deploying defenses such as fortresses, and use all areas within half a light year centered on Shura Star as defense areas. Build 3 fortresses as defense positions. Deploy 15,000 space battleships as garrisons in each fortress, and install space devices at the same time. Since a unit of space around Shura Civilization now belongs to Shura Civilization, space devices can be installed for space transmission. After having the space device, my army can roam and provide support at the fastest speed. And if it doesn't work, we can use the thing. Chen entered the Divine Diamond Mall. In the Divine Diamond Mall, there is only one combat power product, Star Drive device. Remaining number of uses: 1. can move a star within the surrounding cosmic unit, and has the ability to explode a star. Price: 5,000 W divine diamonds. Remaining number of purchases: 5. This thing is a strategic weapon even for level 8 or 9 civilizations. The power of a star explosion is so strong that even a 4th generation divine body or a level 9 space battleship cannot resist it. The only civilization in the universe that has the ability to drive stars is the Liang Civilization, which is why the Liang Civilization, which is only a level 8 civilization, can have a say among the top forces in the universe. When a star explodes, not to mention the explosive force it produces, even the radiation it emits is enough to destroy all civilizations below level 3. Chen absolutely does not want to use this weapon unless it is absolutely necessary. Chapter 47 The Storm is Coming. Under Chen's command, the Seoul Yuo civilization built fortresses on 3 planets 0.7 light-years away from the main star. These 3 fortresses will become the 3 positions of the Shura Civilization to resist the Alliance army. Among these 3 fortresses, one is garrisoned by Uran 20,000 Shura warships. One is garrisoned by Himoan 20,000 warships, with Jiba as adjutant. The last fortress is garrisoned by Mo himself. This is a battle of few against many, and he must go out in person to maintain morale. Moreover, he owns the Divine Diamond Mall and is on the front line, so he can play the role of the Divine Diamond Mall to the extreme. He doesn't need to worry about dying here. There is a resurrection device in the Divine Diamond Mall, which can provide him with resurrection services at any time. Yun Yuo is responsible for the defense of the Shura main star, and Renault is now his adjutant. While the Shura civilization is ready to fight, the army of the Demon Slayer Alliance has also arrived. To be honest, in Chen's eyes, this alliance is a bit stupid. If they hadn't left early and issued a notice on the forum, Chen might not have been able to make such sufficient preparations. But it is understandable that they want prestige and fame. The Yunmu civilization is already ranked in the top 200 on the power list. It is impossible for the other party not to want to establish their own alliance. The other party will first build momentum and then defeat Chen, and the prestige of the Yunmu civilization will reach a peak. When the alliance is established at that time, the leader of the Yunmu civilization will raise his arm and countless players will flock to his alliance. The 24 civilizations of the Demon Slayer Alliance sent a total of 380,000 troops. Although the number of troops has crushed the Shura civilization, Mu is very cautious. He has built a fortress step by step. Only with a fortress can he have the ability to attack again. Otherwise, if there is a problem with the first wave of attack, their advantage of numbers will instantly turn into a disadvantage. The other party has built a total of 3 fortresses here. We don't know the distribution of personnel in the other party's fortresses for the time being, but I think they have definitely built space devices. So what we need to estimate now is the total number of troops that the Shura civilization may invest. In the fortress of the Demon Slayer Alliance, Mu said to the leaders and representatives of civilizations present, "Since we have the space device, it would be meaningless even if we forcefully attack a fortress. We might as well send our entire army directly to each fortress. I don't believe they can hold on if we send 120,000 or 30,000 troops to each fortress," a civilization leader said. Mu shook his head. "Everyone, there is a high probability that the Shura civilization is a 3rd-level civilization. I believe you all know that the fortress can provide a lot of firepower and defense support for the defenders. The strength of the fortress of a 3rd-level civilization is definitely stronger than ours. What's more, the opponent also has a large number of 3rd-level space battleships. According to the intelligence provided by other defeated civilizations, this civilization also has 2 large-scale space combat robots with strong firepower, as well as a large number of medium-sized space combat robots similar to Gundam, about 20 meters in height. In addition, the opponent is also very likely to have a large number of weapons similar to void bombs. You must know that Chen, the lord of the Shura civilization, is the player who recharges the most among all players. VIP 10 is the upper limit of the VIP level, but it does not mean that it is the upper limit of Chen's financial resources. The large number of high-intensity weapons in the limited-time mall, and the large number of auxiliary war or stellar drive equipment in the God Diamond Mall, these firepower we need to consider. Although our army is large in number, if we are not united enough and the orders we issue cannot be thoroughly implemented, then our alliance is likely to overturn and become a joke among all players. Zhao Mu said very solemnly in the conference room. I think. Zhao Mu opened the universe map. Among these three fortresses, we can choose one as the key attack area, and the other two only need to be slightly concealed, giving the opponent the illusion that our army is a dispersed attack. After the opponent resists the first round of attack, in the second round of attack, our troops in the key attack area can press forward and forcefully conquer them at the fastest speed. When the opponent only has two fortresses left, their defense line is no longer complete. Our army can completely give up fighting with these two fortresses and directly push all the troops to their main star to fight with them. At that time, even if the opponent has heavy weapons like the star drive device, they can only be afraid to use it. This is what Zhao Mu thought about for many days and discussed in detail with the generals of the civilization. They came up with what they thought was the best battle plan. The people in the conference room did not immediately agree. The battle plan you mentioned is indeed a good one, but if the other side uses high-level firepower directly in the fortress, or even simply abandons the fortress and uses the star drive device to perish together with our main force, what should we do? A civilization representative raised an objection. That's right, and the false attacks on the other two battlefields are also problematic. In the afternoon, a small number of troops simulated a large number of troops. We must launch a forced attack regardless of losses, causing a large number of firepower casualties. In this process, our army will also suffer heavy losses. Yes, unless your army is responsible for these two battlefields. A group of civilization representatives and pillars of civilization below began to respond to each other. Mo Chen's guess was not wrong. These people gathered together for the sake of interests. But at this stage, which civilization can smoothly capture another civilization? Which one is the master of taking trouble? No one is willing to let their army pay a heavy price to help the alliance win for this superficial alliance. Everyone. Zhao Mu raised his voice. I know that no one wants to pay such a loss, but I can promise you one thing here. I will definitely see the losses of the civilizations responsible for the two battlefields. So those civilizations will get 40% of the proceeds of this war. Zhao Mu's words made all the representatives of the civilizations present silent. The equipment of Shura Civilization was coveted by all civilizations. In addition to the early eradication of Shura Civilization, which would pose a great threat to them, the establishment of the alliance was also one of their main purposes to divide up the weapons and equipment of Shura Civilization after winning. Although this issue of income should be determined by the various civilizations after mutual consultation, but now, anyone with a discerning eye can see that the civilizations responsible for the two battlefields will suffer great losses, and those present are not fools. So they tacitly agreed that Zhao Mu would give the 40% of the spoils to those civilizations. As expected, when there is great profit, there must be warriors. Soon 6 civilizations took on this task. Everyone, the battle plan has been confirmed. Please go back and assemble your troops. I will give you the specific battle plan soon. However, after the plan was confirmed, the rest would naturally fall into place. Although a civilization leader had previously proposed that the other party would forcibly use high-level weapons and fortresses to exchange with their army, this question was refuted by Zhao Mu on the grounds that as long as the pace of the attack was fast enough, the other party would not have time to use it. At this point, both sides were completely ready for war. Chapter 48 Resource Star Furnace. At the command of Zhao Mu, the leader of the Demon Slayer Alliance, the armies of 24 civilizations launched a full-scale attack on the fortress of the Shura Civilization. The enemy's first round of attack has begun. According to the energy consumed by the fortress defense shield, the firepower of fortresses number 1 and number 2 is close, and the firepower of fortress number 3 is higher. The firepower level of fortresses number 1 and number 2 is 7, and the firepower level of fortress number 3 is 8. Zhao is reporting the current defense situation of the fortress. The firepower of the 3 fortresses is very close, but the opponent should not really disperse the troops to attack. If that is the case, It is really helpless. Looking at the data that is constantly floating on Zhao's display board, Chen has some doubts, but he couldn't tell what he was doubting for a while. The battle lasted for an hour, with the various sophisticated equipment of the fortress and Shura Civilization. Neither side could do anything to the other for a while. Zhao, I need to see the number of warships you estimated the enemy lost, Chen said to the Zhao robot that looked like an elf. My king, according to the prediction, in the past hour of fighting, Fortress Number 1 destroyed a total of 4,436 space battleships. Fortress Number 2 destroyed a total of 4,179 space battleships, and Fortress Number 3 destroyed a total of 3,014 space battleships. Fortress Number 3 has a higher firepower index than Fortress Number 1 and Number 2, but the estimated number of enemies destroyed is less. Chen fell into thinking. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and left the command room directly and walked onto the deck of the starship. There is no way to transmit sound in a vacuum, but being directly on the deck can more intuitively see the current war scene. Chen is now at Fortress Number 1. Calculate the number of these shells released, the degree of explosion, and the speed of the shells moving, Chen said to Zhao. Yes, the third-level supercomputer system began to move a large amount of computing power to analyze the current level of artillery fire on the battlefield. 1 minute later, the data analysis was completed. My king, the enemy releases about 15,000 shells per minute. Through accurate calculations, the enemy uses only about 16 types of artillery fire. Now all the estimated data of these artillery fires have been uploaded to your database. The branch technology of transplanting a first-level supercomputer into the body of a super soldier has been studied by Fate. Chen became the first user. Chen used a trial product before. Chen put almost all the dark matter energy in his body into the supercomputer, and combined with his experience in his previous life, he quickly determined that at least in Fortress Number 1, the enemy's army should only belong to 3 civilizations. In other words, the army attacking Fortress Number 1 now is just a coalition of the 3 civilizations of the enemy, and Fortress Number 2, which has a similar battle situation to Fortress Number 1, is very likely to face an enemy that is also just a coalition of 3 civilizations. Zhao immediately analyzed the combat situation of Fortress Number 2 and Fortress Number 3. My needs are the same as before. After saying this, Chen immediately returned to the command room to replenish his own energy. The supercomputer driving his body just now had consumed almost all of his energy. If he wanted to calculate twice more, he had to replenish his body's energy to the maximum. Soon, 2 more data were uploaded to his database. Sure enough, Fortress Number 2 also only faced the coalition forces of 3 civilizations, and although the firepower of Fortress Number 3 was not much higher than that of Fortress Number 1 and Fortress Number 2, the types of artillery fire there reached more than 160, and the civilizations faced there reached at least more than 12. It seems that Fortress Number 1 and Fortress Number 2 can annihilate so many enemies because the other side uses a desperate attack. I think when the second wave of attack comes, they will attack with all their strength and directly occupy Fortress Number 3 by force. You never thought that Chen could analyze his plan through these subtle clues. Of course, all this is because Chen had experienced too many wars in his previous life. He had to grasp every detail of the battlefield. After all, Chen in his previous life did not recharge a penny. As long as there was a little mistake in each war, his civilization might be destroyed. If that's the case, Chen did not intend to use the star drive device. He planned to use the strategy against the opponent and simply give Fortress Number 3 to the opponent. As for how to deal with the opponent, Chen exchanged such an item from the Divine Diamond Mall. Resource Star Furnace. Forcibly confine a piece of space. The confinement technology is equivalent to the 6th level space technology, and the space is ultra-high temperature smelted. It is often used to smelt resource stars and obtain high-strength resource cores. Price: 100 W Divine Diamonds. Purchase limit 999 1/1000ths. This item was originally used to smelt resource cores. Resource cores are necessary for building divine bodies, but each resource star is very precious. Therefore, Although the Moline civilization in the previous life reached the 8th level civilization, there was only one third-generation divine body, Chen, and the total number of divine bodies did not exceed 3,000. Although the main purpose of this furnace device is to smelt resource stars, that is for high-level civilizations, for Chen now, it is a sharp weapon to smear people. This device can be used at any time and can be remotely controlled. Just install it in Fortress Number 3. When the enemy army breaks into Fortress Number 3, turn on the device directly, and all the enemy's troops will be destroyed there. With the space confinement completed by the 6th level space technology, those civilizations cannot escape. The person in charge of Fortress Number 3 is Himo. After receiving the Resource Star Furnace device transmitted by Chen through the space device, he immediately installed it in the fortress. Zhao. After the opponent's first round of attack is over, the control of all the warships and combat robots in Fortress Number 3 will be handed over to you. You should prepare now and hand over your computing authority to Jiulai, a newly built second-level supercomputer, which can be regarded as Zhao's younger brother, and then put all your computing power into Fortress Number 3. Yes, my king. Zhao began to hand over her tasks to Jiulai, and she would put all her computing power into the second wave of battle, for the operation of all the warships and combat robots in Fortress Number 3. Soon after another 2 hours, the army of the Alliance began to retreat, and their first round of attack ended here. The soldiers in Fortress Number 3 also left in batches under the command of Himo. The Resource Star Furnace device installed in Fortress Number 3 is waiting for the arrival of the coalition forces. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49 Despair in the Furnace. All warships should replenish energy immediately and repair all the repairable facilities within 2 hours. After the warships returned to the supply station, Dalmu immediately issued orders to the commanders of various legions. That's right, 2 hours. This is the rest time he left for the troops. There is no way. The civilization level of Shura Civilization is higher than theirs. If they use more time to rest, it may be a rest for their army. But for the warships of Shura Civilization, it may be directly repaired to a brand new level. At Fortress Number 3, the soldiers in the fortress are evacuating in batches, and Zhao has taken over the control of all warships and combat robots. Since the retreat of the soldiers on the warships was carried out by the shift of patrols, the Demon Slayer Alliance did not notice anything. As for the warships and combat robots of Fortress Number 3, Chen did not intend to destroy them all. After the opponent's troops completely confirmed the victory of this war, the retreat of Chen's warships would deepen their trust in their own strategy, because they would think that Chen ordered the troops to retreat because he knew that he could not defend the planet. So he ordered the troops to return to the main planet for a second round of defense. Leaving the troops there to fight to the death would make them think that he wanted to delay them and activate some devices in the fortress. Soon, 2 hours passed, and Chen did not know when the other side would start the second round of attack, but the soldiers of Fortress Number 3 had all evacuated, so he had nothing to worry about. The second round of attack is on. All troops will attack. Dalmu issued an attack order in the Demon Slayer Alliance supply station not far from Fortress Number 3 of the Shura Civilization. 18 civilizations, 270,000 space warships came out in full force and launched a full-scale attack on Fortress Number 3. It started. Chen stayed in Fortress Number 1 and watched the battle scene transmitted by Zhao. The two armies showed a one-sided trend at the moment of contact. Despite the defense and firepower support provided by the fortress, more than 1,000 defensive warships of Fortress Number 3 were destroyed in an instant. Later, as the enemy fleet gradually entered the heavy fire coverage area, the losses were not so great, but it could not save the situation of being crushed. The second round of combat began. After the two armies came into contact, only less than 15 minutes later, all the positions of the Shura Civilization were completely defeated. After losing nearly half of the warships and almost all combat robots, The Shura Civilization's warships evacuated through the space device, leaving only an empty fortress for the army of the Demon Slayer Alliance. After all the warships left, in order to be foolproof, Zhao activated the self-destruction program of the space device. However, Dao Mu was indeed a smart man. He only sent a small force into the fortress to accept the work of the fortress. The rest of the warships were docked outside the fortress and needed supplies. They also entered the fortress in batches and withdrew immediately after the supplies and repairs were completed. He did all this to prevent the fortress from starting any explosion program. However, despite this, they still did not find the data stream and resource star furnace device from Zhao hidden in the fortress. Zhao was waiting, not for fortress number 3, but for fortress number 1 and number 2. Now, the troops of Shura Civilization in Fortress Number 1 and Fortress Number 2 have all evacuated, but the location they were transferred to through space was not back to the main star of Shura Star. Instead, it was in a supply station not far from these two fortresses. After Fortress Number 1 and Fortress Number 2 were occupied, Zhao turned on the resource star furnace device. "My Emperor, strong space fluctuations were detected," Dao Mu's man said to him. "Huh?" Dao Mu frowned and looked outside. Soon, several civilizations sent the same test results. The most terrifying thing was that when they tried to leave, they found that they were completely imprisoned in this space, and the spare space cracking device brought for Dao Mu could not break the space confinement here. All civilizations, all armies, open the defense shields of their warships to the maximum value. Dao Mu made a prompt decision and immediately issued an order. Everyone can panic in the current situation, only he can't panic. "Do you feel a little hot?" a soldier suddenly said in Dao Mu's warship. Dao Mu quickly looked at the fortress number 3 not far away. As time went by, fortress number 3 melted in the shocked eyes of everyone, and they could also feel that the space around them was getting hotter and hotter. As fortress number 3 melted, a circular device with a red light appeared in their eyes. "Fire! Fire at that device with all your strength!" Dao Mu almost roared at the messenger. Countless lasers and shells flew towards the furnace device, but just as they were about to approach the device, a space barrier appeared outside the device, blocking all their attacks. "The temperature has reached 65 degrees, a soldier said with sweat. The refrigeration device of the warship had been turned to the maximum value, but even so, the temperature still reached 65 degrees. Ordinary soldiers in the warships of many civilizations have fallen into a coma, and only super soldiers can support them. However, the temperature indicator is still gradually rising in their desperate eyes. When the temperature reaches 80 degrees, everyone can feel the scalding sensation on their skin. Some high-ranking officials were wearing cooling clothes, and they couldn't feel it even if they were wearing pure clothes. But ordinary super soldiers had to use their own energy to resist the heat. But the horror of the furnace device was by no means limited to this. 90 degrees, 105 degrees, 120 degrees, 135 degrees, 150 degrees, 300 degrees. Some super soldiers fell down. At this moment, the super soldiers' bodies did not give them any protection or happiness. When a person watched himself being slowly roasted and his flesh was burned, he continued to heal his internal injuries due to the energy support inside his body. It was obviously painful, but he just couldn't die. The fallen super soldiers were not because their bodies could not support it. They committed suicide. This atmosphere of despair gradually spread in each warship. In this way, all the troops of the Demon Killer Alliance were roasted to death. Those warships were all preserved. Zhao turned off the furnace device when the heat resistance of these warships reached the maximum. The warships in the number 1 and number 2 fortresses were evacuated to the supply station. The Shura army relied on Zhao to regain control of the two fortresses and destroyed all the armies there. Bang! Dao Mu fell from his seat. He had left the active universe, but his body still seemed to feel the burning sensation. His eyes were filled with fear. He looked at his trembling hands. In his vision, his hands were the ones that were burnt black in the active universe. No one could have imagined that a leader of an alliance who was full of vigor and command of 23 civilizations before was now hiding in his own palace, crying bitterly. After the previous battle, all his dreams, all his courage, and all his will melted in the high temperature. Chapter 50 Entertainment Act. The defeat of the Demon Slayer Alliance shocked all the players, and the weapon that Chen used to defeat them was soon found by others in the Divine Diamond Mall. The price of 1,000,000 Divine Diamonds made countless people stay away, and everyone was impressed by his financial resources. The Lord of Mosai Civilization, Mosai, are you still short of leg pendants? The Lord of Hell Civilization, Morris, in the later stage, one person can kill an alliance. What's the point of playing? The Lord of Yongkong Civilization, Wang Dang, you are worthy of being the #1 person at the moment. You are a man of millions of talents, and you have millions of wealth. Chen naturally didn't care about these things on the chat channel, which had long been handed over to Yunfeng. After the Demon Slayer Alliance was killed, there was no enemy around the Shura Civilization who dared to challenge him. In a month, Chen conquered all 24 civilizations. Now he doesn't need to worry about the number of his troops at all. Almost all of the warships of the Demon Slayer Alliance were preserved intact. They only need to be modified to be officially put into the army of the Shura Civilization. On the other hand, in the real universe, due to the holding of the Virtual League, the residents of Shura Civilization began to change their original star-chasing direction to those professional players. This made many original entertainment stars feel unhappy. Many stars self-righteously criticized the Virtual League and some of the current Shura Civilization's systems by relying on their influence among fans, but all their little actions were recorded by Zhao and told to Chen. It seems that they have a lot of opinions about me. Chen smiled. What do you think I should do, my king? I think that entertainment is indispensable for a civilization to achieve better development, but the direction of entertainment must be regulated. If it is not controlled, entertainment will only stop the progress of civilization or even regress. Zhao floated in front of Chen and told Chen her views based on data analysis. Okay, I understand what you mean. Go and call a meeting. I will formulate a new plan for these entertainment stars. The time is set at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Chen rubbed Zhao's little head and said, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the meeting room of the palace. Everyone, I'm sure you all know about the recent public opinion caused by those entertainment stars in the civilization. Chen looked at the ministers and projections in the conference room. I called you all here today to start a discussion on this. I plan to implement a new bill against them. My king, our civilization has now entered the interstellar era. We should put all our strength into the development of civilization. Wouldn't it be better to abolish these stars directly? A member of parliament expressed his thoughts. No, you should know that I support the emergence of this kind of entertainment from the moment I agreed to launch the Virtual League. No matter how our civilization develops, we cannot escape the limitations of human beings. Entertainment can help us relieve the pressure in our hearts and stimulate our better development. But entertainment must be controlled. We can't let it lead our civilization in the wrong direction again. Chen gestured to Zhao. Zhao quickly transmitted the previously drafted bill to the hands of the various members and ministers. This is the bill I drafted before. From today on, all entertainment companies will be under the control of the royal family. Those so-called entertainment stars must participate in military control and military training at least 3 times a year. If they are unwilling to accept, or fail to meet the standards in the training, then these entertainment stars will no longer be able to accept any endorsements, sing or act. They will lose the qualifications to become entertainment stars. At the same time, new entertainment stars will no longer need any auditions or competitions in the future. If someone wants to be an entertainment star, they must stand out from the military and the art troupe. Only those who have obtained the rank of colonel or above in the art troupe can become an entertainment star in the outside world. I will not limit the income of these entertainment stars in the bill. It is not necessary. However, when civilization encounters a disaster or needs to enter the emergency construction stage, all the income they generate during this period will be donated to civilization unconditionally. Chen's voice echoed in the silent and huge conference room. My king, if you let those stars participate in military training, I'm afraid they can't hold on. A congressman, because his daughter is a crazy fan, had to bite the bullet and said it out of fear that his daughter would make a fuss at home. In his opinion, as long as those entertainment stars who set the tone are removed, There will be no problem. Chen looked at the congressman. Although he did not speak, his eyes stayed on him for a long time, which made the congressman feel cold on his neck. In fact, all the information of these congressmen has long been completely mastered by Zhao. In such a high-tech era, anyone's information can be fully obtained through the internet. When the congressman raised an objection, Zhao had already sent his daughter's information to Chen's personal gene computer. In this case, let's vote directly. Chen looked at the quiet meeting room and said calmly, "It didn't take long for the voting to be completed. Announce the voting results." Chen said to Zhao, 63 votes in favor, 0 votes against, 2 abstentions. The bill is allowed to be implemented. Very good. Then it's your business next. I have something to do and will leave here soon. You should discuss in detail how this bill should be implemented. I won't follow up later. I believe you can do it well. After saying this, Chen left the meeting room. You don't have to blame the congressman just now. Entertainment is for everyone's own needs. Since I have established a parliamentary system to allow them to participate in the process of determining and implementing the bill, I have no intention of blaming them for expressing their own ideas based on their own circumstances. On the way out of the meeting room, Chen said to Zhao. Although Zhao claimed to be the central control supercomputer of Shura Civilization, she was actually responsible to only one person, and that was Chen. Chen discovered that when Zhao opposed the bill proposed by Chen for his own reasons, her system fluctuations showed a performance similar to human anger. Come with me to the training camp of the royal team. I want to see what Nagusuk has trained them to be like. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.